Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Happy Monday, everyone. Real Talk Studios, A2D Radio, Sports Hounds with you till 10. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby producing. We have a post-Super Bowl Mortem edition of the Sports Hounds. The football season is over, but there are other sports to talk about. We're going to kick it off with the NBA. We're going to talk about the shitty Super Bowl later on in the show. But, Brad, we got a lot of NBA to talk about.
We certainly do.
So from Monday till now,
Frank,
that just so much happened. And I gotta, because I took some Brad heat on Facebook because we got to backtrack to Thursday. Sixers, Warriors. I wake up from my nap to watch the game, and some scrub is in there at shooting guard instead of Klay Thompson. I go on my phone, go on Twitter, look at it. Klay Thompson is inactive. In essence, making the 76ers win over the Warriors completely meaningless. Meant nothing, folks. It gave me zero intel on how the Sixers measure up against the best of the best in the league when the Warriors were short a max player. And I know that hurts Sixers fans because they want to get all up in arms because they beat the Warriors. Well, they beat the Warriors at way less than full strength. Everyone wants to say, oh, who's Klay Thompson? He's Michael Jordan all of a sudden? No, he's not, but he's a max player in this league. He's the best perimeter defender on the Warriors. He accounts for 17, 18, roughly 20% of their scoring, and is lights out from three. They're impossible to defend with him on the floor. With him out, the Sixers were able to hide JJ on the defensive end and win the basketball game. So that
it's still a big win, but
it meant nothing, Brad.
No, it's a big win on the road because you know what?
That's fine. It's a road win, and Ben Simmons played great. But because you have Ben Simmons is the reason that you're the only team in the East that can contend with the Warriors in June in the NBA Finals, pending they make some tweaks at the deadline. Maybe get some of your Knicks buyout guys, which we'll get to in a second. But it meant nothing. How can you tell me that win means all that when Klay Thompson didn't play?
No,
it gave me zero intel about how the Sixers, as constructed, measure up against the best of the best in the league. And I got news for you. Tomorrow doesn't mean much either against the Raptors because now the Sixers got Wilson Chandler, starting power forward, out until after the All-Star break. The Sixers aren't going to win tomorrow. The Sixers have no way of matching the Raptors front court with Valanciunas and Ibaka and Siakam without Wilson Chandler, with just Joel Embiid, unless the Raptors rest guys, which we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Look, as far as all this goes, Rob, it's the regular season and it's January. Can we just calm down a little bit with some of these games that you win in January? I mean, it's a long season. First of all, the trade deadline is Thursday. Some of these teams could be making some big changes. So before you get too excited about a win in January, let's just wait and see what happens. I mean, I think if somebody sends a message in March to somebody, and both teams are at full strength, yeah, that's a message. Okay, now I'm not so sure, and I kind of agree with you about that. I think.
But look at let's X and O it for a second. Sixers, Warriors, without the Sixers adding anybody versus the Warriors at full strength, because the Warriors have 5 players. Andre Iguodala is a shell of himself. Sean Livingston is a 6'8" T.J. McConnell. Kevin Looney's terrible. I can't even remember the guy who started at shooting guard instead of Klay. They're a 5-man team. Without one of those components, I don't know that they
It's not
represent the West in the
It's not-
finals because the Thunder can play, the Nuggets can play. They need all those
Don't-
people because they have
don't-
no bench.
Don't throw out the
None.
Rockets, and don't throw out the Lakers because something's going to happen with the Lakers.
Well,
between
we'll see.
now and
When
Thursday.
something happens with the Lakers, we'll evaluate then. I'm
Right.
talking about as constructed. But let's X and O it. Warriors have no one for Ben. Few teams in the NBA do, if anybody does. Just like the Sixers don't really have anyone for Durant. So that's
No,
a watch.
He scored 41 points that game.
Who, Durant?
Yeah,
No, Steph had 41.
I thought Durant had 41.
Durant did good. I don't have the box score in
Okay.
front of me.
In
But
any event, yeah.
Curry had 41.
Okay.
But with Thompson out, you can hide JJ on the defensive end and have Jimmy cover Steph.
yeah. Oh, I mean, listen.
And
it
Jimmy
makes-
Butler played horrible in that game. He played terrible.
fact that they-
He wants a max contract, and he's going to play like that? With Klay Thompson out, the game showed me nothing about how they can potentially measure up with the best of the NBA as constructed. And that's what I needed to see on the Warriors.
I agree with you right now. It doesn't really it's not the same thing. I mean, it's when you're not playing a team at full strength, you're not getting an accurate view.
But if Jimmy Butler plays as bad as he did with Klay Thompson in the lineup, the Sixers lose by 15 points.
yeah, they get severely outscored at that position.
And
You're
Boogie
right.
was in Joe's head to start the game. He had 7 turnovers in the first half. It was crazy. Every time he touched the ball, it was a turnover.
Well,
So I felt cheated from a basketball and Sixers fan perspective that Klay Thompson was sick against the Sixers, which he wasn't sick. He went out Saturday night against the Lakers and torched them. So, but that doesn't mean anything either because LeBron didn't play in that game.
exactly. That's the whole.
Last Thursday
that's the
night
whole
when the
point.
Sixers beat the Warriors reminded me why college basketball is so much better than the NBA. You get a condensed season. You get a couple games a week. No one takes sissy rest days. You play for the jersey, name on the front of the jersey as opposed to the name on the back, which playing for the name on the back of the jersey brings us to our next NBA point. Anthony Davis demanding a trade. The Knicks then trading Porzingis to the Mavericks, which I don't understand at all, Brad. We'll get to Anthony Davis in a second, but you're a Knick fan, New York affiliated. I don't understand trading Kristaps Porzingis at all. The guy's 7'3". He's an obvious stud. It's unfortunate he tore his ACL, but how are you going to tell me that the Knicks are a more attractive free agent landing spot without Porzingis?
Well, okay, let's dissect the trade a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, when they traded Porzingis, they also included Tim Hardaway's contract,
Which is a bad
which
contract.
is a horrible contract, and Courtney Lee's contract. So between
Not
the
a good
two of them-
contract either.
yeah, between the two of those guys, they traded away $28 million in cap space. Okay, the guys they got back: DeAndre Jordan and
Wesley Matthews.
and Wesley Matthews, and
Dennis Smith Jr.
Dennis Smith Jr. is a keeper, but
Maybe. He's been nothing but a disappointment. He was third or fourth in the draft.
well, I mean they're going to give him a chance to play. Obviously,
Yeah, maybe he'll need a change
mean,
of scenery. We'll see.
I think that the Knicks are okay at
I
point
think he's
guard.
a sixth or seventh man.
I think Moutier is okay. I'm not all that upset with Moutier. I think he's done okay this year. He's more than held his own on a team with no talent. But getting back to the trade, they picked up two guys, DeAndre Jordan and Wesley Matthews, who are both on expiring contracts. The Knicks now have about $75 million in cap space. So that means they have the ability to sign two max players. They're counting on the fact that they can sign two max players and, get one of the top 3 draft picks in the NBA lottery. If they finish in the top 3, then they get no worse than a third pick in the draft. If they get some breaks with the ping pong balls, they could get the first pick. Maybe they get Zion Williamson. I mean, we'll see what happens there. But here's what I'm going to say to you, Rob. If the Knicks go up to, let's say, Kevin Durant, okay, And listen, Kevin does have a house in the Hamptons.
Can we stop with these people with their
likes-
houses? They can live wherever they want and play basketball in
But
a
it
different
does.
place.
But listen, LeBron,
Paul George bought a house in L.A. and he
LeBron-
plays in Oklahoma
yeah,
City.
but LeBron also bought a house in L.A. and he ended up
You
signing
know how many,
in L.A.
you know how many freaking houses LeBron James
All right,
probably has?
Let me finish.
Stop with the houses. It
Let me
means
finish.
absolutely nothing. Kevin Durant having a house in the
Durant-
Hamptons has no bearing on where he's going to
Kevin
play
Durant
basketball
also
next season.
But Kevin Durant likes New York. There is a possibility.
That's funny you say that because his personality and demeanor would suggest otherwise.
Well, from what I'm hearing, and let's just play devil's advocate for a minute, okay? Because the Knicks have done everything wrong in the last 5-6 years, so it probably will blow up in their faces. But let's see what they're hoping that they can go up to Kevin Durant and say, "Hey, Kevin, we will give you a max contract to play in Madison Square Garden. Okay, you can pick whoever you want to be your partner here. We have enough money to get another max free agent. If you want us to go get Kyrie, if you want us to try to get Leonard, if you want us to try to get Thompson, we can bring those. If you want Jimmy Butler, we can bring all these guys in. It's up to you. Whoever you want, Kevin. We're going to kiss your fanny and we're going to let you have them. Okay? And not only that, but we're going to have one of the top 3 picks in the draft. Maybe we will have Zion Williamson, the young stud from Duke, to play with you. What do you think, Kevin? Do you want to?
You can also have second pick R.J. Barrett, who also plays for Duke. That's not a bad consolation prize. So
No.
as long as you're in the top 2, you're going to get pretty much a can't miss prospect.
They're going to get a good young player out of the deal. No question. You already have Kevin.
You got to be in
Knox,
the top 2 though, so because I don't know what's going on past the second pick.
Is that guy Ba worth it? The guy at Murray State?
Oh, I mean, he can't shoot threes, so he's going to get
No,
pushed
so-
down the board.
Well, then
as he
he'll fit in.
works out.
He'd fit in very well with the team they have now. But all jokes aside, okay.
But how many guards do you need? I mean, you have Dennis Smith, you have Moutier, you have Nicolina. I mean,
Well, Ntilikina is going to go. He's going to be gone. They'll get rid of him.
how do you miss that bad on a top 5 pick?
Because he was an 8th pick.
You know what I mean?
Phil Jackson screwed up the team really bad. Phil Jackson was a horrendous GM. Horrendous. Okay? Bottom line here is the Knicks went and opened up some cap relief. They had to put Porzingis in the trade to get rid of these other 2 guys. Now, you can say whatever you want about this. Porzingis is a great player. We know that. He's also injury prone. He's missed a lot of games every season.
See, but we just looked this up, and he really hasn't missed a lot of games. He hasn't
Right, he
played in
missed
the
10
year because
games.
of his knee.
He missed
Come
10
on,
games.
10
then he
games
missed
over an
16.
82-game season. That's nothing.
He missed 16 games.
That's not a big deal either.
Oh, it's big enough. They went on. If I remember correctly, not last year, the year before that, when he missed a significant amount of time, the Knicks season crashed and burned. Now it was probably too late, but I mean the bottom line here is he seems to be injury prone. He's a good player, but you know what? He's not in the same league as Durant. He's not in the same league as Embiid. He's not in that league. He's not that good. He's very, very good. I'm not saying he's not.
He has top 10 in the NBA potential.
He does.
And the
He
Mavs
does.
did a great thing by putting him and Doncic together.
Oh, I
who
agree.
is-
They should both be. Listen, Kristaps should be happy in Dallas. You would think he'd be happy in Dallas. Kristaps also threatened the Knicks that he was going to sign a poison pill contract.
What does that mean?
Okay, he's going to be a restricted free agent. In other words, he was going to sign a contract that would make it so bad for the Knicks to try to match that they would almost have to let him go. Kind of like what happened with Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin signed a contract where I think he made $8 million the first year and he made like $26 or $27 million the second year, and that would have just destroyed the Knicks cap, and they would have had to renounce a couple of players to keep him the following season. That's what Kristaps Porzingis was basically threatening to do. So he was out. He was out to make sure that the Knicks weren't going to re-sign him. So the Knicks basically got what they could for him now instead of waiting till next year and risking him
Okay.
getting injured yet again. And at this point, they
All right,
made the decision.
I hear you on Porzingis.
Listen, do I agree with it?
I
No, I would rather have
Okay.
Porzingis, but you know what?
Let's put that to the
They
side.
had to do-
Porzingis is gone. He didn't want to be there. He's gone.
No, he
so the
didn't.
Knicks did what they could with him and got cap space. I am not buying that players are going to be lining up to play for the Knicks this summer purely because of money.
Well, how about purely because they can play? You have two guys that can play together. Chris Bosh and LeBron James did it.
Yeah, but the Knicks don't have Dwayne Wade in-house.
I understand that, but who do you think they're going to get in the draft? They might be getting a guy who could end up being like Dwayne Wade in the draft. I mean, not saying Dwayne Wade, but suppose they get Williamson. Suppose they get the next guy up. The guy
R.J. Barrett.
Yeah, suppose they get him.
That'd be good too.
Yeah, well, they'd have a big three. I mean, listen, you have to have three good players to win in this league, and they would have a nice big three. I mean, they'd be built to win now. I mean, listen, there'd still be adjustments and tweaks that they'd have to make, but you know what? They'd certainly have the roots and the foundation to be a very, very good contending basketball team next season. And at this point, I think, I'll tell you what, I'm more excited about the Knicks for next season than I've been about the Knicks in God knows how long. Because
unless you strike out in free agency, and then you're going to be the same miserable Knicks fan that every miserable Knicks fan has been for the last 50 years.
At least I can go to the window and make a bet and sit there and say, okay, come on, guys.
Yeah, but that's great.
The
next 3 to 5 years, your off season is going to be the summer and the draft.
Well, we'll see if they're able to be successful this season in the off season, because this is undoubtedly in the last 20 years the most important off season they've had, because this is the year that they get a chance to actually right some of these wrongs. We'll see what happens. I mean, they have an opportunity right now, and we'll see if Madison Square Garden still has appeal in the NBA to NBA players. At one time, Madison Square Garden was considered the mecca of the NBA, the mecca of basketball. Everybody wanted to play at Madison Square Garden. Back in the day, okay, when Ewing was around. It's been a long time, Rob. It's been 20 years. We'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, at least they put themselves in a spot where had they kept Porzingis, nobody would have come there. But now you have a chance to get two guys at once, and we'll see what happens. I mean, look, they're rolling the dice, and it's a very big gamble, because if they screw it up and they don't get two big free agents, then it's going to be Zion Williamson and Kevin Knox and a bunch of scrubs, and then we're going to go through the same crap next year that we went through this year. And we're going to be waiting just like you guys waited all those years. And unfortunately, the problem is the Knicks kind of have made some mistakes in the draft, kind of like what happened with you guys. I mean, you guys had some tanking years.
Yeah.
And you made mistakes with Okafor. I mean, he stunk.
Be that as it may, you came
and
out of
Fultz,
the process with Joe and Ben.
I
and we were able to
understand,
get enough secondary pieces
four.
to get Jimmy Butler.
But you had four. You tanked for 4 years, and you got two superstars. But you made a couple of mistakes. Now,
right. They
the Knicks
50%.
have been tanking. The Knicks have been tanking, but you guys really tanked to the point where you're able to get top 3 picks every year.
Well, it's not my fault that the Knicks aren't good at tanking either. What do you want me to tell you?
Well, the one year they really, really were bad, the year they won 15 games, that was the year they drafted Porzingis. I mean, this year, I guess they're figuring, they have a chance to get 3 big-time players on the team at the same time. And, maybe they entertain trading that draft pick to try to get another star in. I mean, we'll see what happens. Then there's the chance maybe they keep DeAndre Jordan for next season to play center.
Yeah, good role player.
It depends how much money he's
all right.
wants,
So then,
we'll
to
see.
move on, Anthony Davis requests a trade from the Pelicans.
Okay.
I think he's going to be on the Lakers by when's the trade deadline? Thursday.
Well, all signs are pointing to the Lakers.
That's where he wants to be. If it's not Thursday, it'll be at the draft. If it's not at the draft, it'll be when he's a free agent. He's going to the Lakers to play with LeBron. And my guess would be that they're going to sign Kemba Walker as well in the offseason.
Who, the Lakers?
Yes.
There's a good chance that could happen.
And that's going to be their 3. And they'll fill in with guys because I think Golden State's going to lose Durant and they're going to lose Boogie.
And they might lose Clay, too.
No, because I think that they won't. They won't not. The Warriors won't.
Isn't Draymond going to be a free agent also?
Draymond and Clay and Durant and Boogie are all potential. They could all potentially leave. And that's not going to happen.
They're not going to lose all 4 of them.
No, but there's no way that the Warriors next year don't have at least 3 max players on their team.
I would agree with you.
Steph's already locked in.
Yeah. They'll probably
and I
keep
think
Thompson.
they're gonna lean towards keeping the 3 guys that they drafted in the mix.
Yeah.
Thompson and Draymond.
Yeah, I would agree. Draymond's kind of a flake though. I mean, I could see him maybe.
Draymond is he's so annoying. I mean,
I know it, but he's so unstable. He's liable to.
The Warriors had all the momentum in the game last Thursday against the Sixers, and then dopey Draymond goes and gets teed up and ruins their chances.
Yeah, but that's what he does.
I don't understand what goes through his head.
He's the Donovan Sue of the NBA. Let's be honest.
I don't understand him.
He can be a great player when he keeps his head together, but then the slightest little thing makes him a deranged lunatic. It's very
I
strange
find it.
with him.
I also, just to get back to Anthony Davis before we get to this Scanzano Sports poll question, some of the great comments we got flying in here.
Yeah, we
from
got
the
a
family.
lot of them. We do have a lot of them, so
but
we should probably get to
I
some
think
of them.
don't you think it's hypocritical that Anthony Davis Sr., so Anthony Davis's dad, is saying he doesn't want his son to go play in Boston because they don't have any loyalty because they traded Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving, when it's his very son who's not being loyal to the New Orleans Pelicans?
Well, it's not do as I say. It's don't do as I do, do as I say.
Well, where does he get the nerve to say that?
Because he's basically being a hypocrite.
So
which
Anthony
most of these
Davis,
guys are.
the rumor is that Anthony Davis would consider signing a short-term deal with the Nets, the Knicks, the Warriors, and the Lakers. I think I have those 4 teams right. Pretty sure. I'll pull it up here in a second.
We'll see what ends up
But
happening.
that brings us to the Skins because all this player movement got me thinking. Because Klay Thompson's a potential free agent. Jimmy Butler's also a potential free agent. Scanzano Sports poll question tonight: who's a better fit to play with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons for the next 5 years? Is it Klay Thompson or is it Jimmy Butler?
Oh, Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson. You said that without hesitation.
Because Klay Thompson, first of all, Jimmy Butler, his personality does.
Yeah, but I love his personality.
He seems to rub some guys the wrong
Stop.
way.
He went into Minnesota and told the GM, "You need me to win because Andrew Wiggins stinks and Karl Anthony Towns is soft."
Well, be that as it may,
He
supposedly
told the truth. He told the truth.
Oh, I
Me
know,
and you
but-
get ripped apart by the fam all the time when we tell the truth and people don't like it. We get shredded.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me ask you this: Klay Thompson, and I've watched.
I kind of knew you were going to answer like this, and I'm Frank. We'll get you to weigh in a second here
I like Klay Thompson's
boy.
game
because I love Jimmy.
I understand you love him, but who's younger?
What's Jimmy Butler? 28?
I thought he was 31.
No, he's not 30 yet.
Jimmy
He's not
Butler,
30
I
yet.
believe, is 28.
I think he's 28.
Let's look at it.
Okay,
And I
so
think Clay's almost the same age as him as well.
it's pretty close.
All right, let's make sure.
Okay, so Jimmy has a bad attitude. Say they're
Okay.
both I don't know 30. Say they're both playing for a max contract.
Jimmy Butler is 29.
Okay.
Okay, so that's and
So get Clay's age
Klay
because that's
Thompson.
the be all end all of
well,
of
to
all.
me that's pretty important to me.
Why can't we just have a barroom discussion and not have to be just complete nerds about it and just talk about the X's and
Okay.
O's, what
Klay-
each player
Klay's
brings to the
28, so
table, and
they're-
who's better?
Okay.
So they're the same,
I
like I said.
They're about the same. So
Jeez.
that's okay. I like Klay better because I just think Klay is more of a team player. I think he's a better shooter. he's a great defender. He's won the rings before, and there is a championship pedigree. And I just think that to me is a very important factor. He's won all those championships. He knows how to win a championship. I just think he'd be a better fit. I see him as more of a team player and a better citizen than Jimmy.
Yeah, but I like my stars with a little dirt under their fingernails. You know what I'm saying?
I think Clay could have some dirt under his fingernails too.
Yeah, but I mean, Clay is a shooter. You know, he's a great shooter and a great defender.
He's a great shooter,
but he can't get to the hoop like Jimmy.
You have Embiid to get to the hoop all day long. Nobody listen if
yes, Brad,
Embiid
but you need
Simmons can
you
get
need
to the
a
hoop.
wing. You need a wing
Simmons
to
can
go
get
with
to the-
Simmons and Embiid. You need
Simmons-
a wing.
Okay, but you also need a guy who can drain an outside shot consistently, and he can do that. I mean,
Yeah, but Jimmy, albeit three-pointers are not his strong suit, he has an excellent mid-range game. He can get to the hoop at will.
I agree.
He can defend, and he's going to push
and I
from
remember
a competitive standpoint
And Rob, I
in
remember,
practice, in the film room, and on the
and I
court
remember
in
that,
the games.
And I remember that ridiculous shot he made against Brooklyn to win a game. I remember that shot
Yeah.
too. So I mean, I know he's clutch. So is Clay. I think as a solid citizen, I like Clay. I mean, listen, you're not going to go wrong with either one. They're both excellent players.
I love.
Do you think,
I would sign
do you think
Jimmy.
Jimmy
I
is
would
a
sign
max
Jimmy.
player?
Yes.
So
Especially with, I love the mix of skill sets the Sixers have right now with their big three.
I don't because
They need to fill in a little better around their big three.
I don't think Kemba Walker is a great fit for your team.
No.
He's not a great shooter.
No.
He's a real good playmaker.
No, because you need to have, to contrary belief to what some idiots think, that Ben Simmons is like not good and the Sixers should trade him.
That's
and
ridiculous.
It's the most asinine take ever.
I mean, to hear people say
But
that
Ben needs to have the ball in his hands all the time. I'm not sure Kemba Walker can play without the ball in his hands. Just like Kyrie Irving is not a fit here.
no, you don't need Kyrie Irving
Because
on
you
your team.
need to have Ben with the ball in his hands. Boogie is not a fit here.
But
you have
Clay
Embiid.
is a fit because Clay doesn't always have to have the ball in his hands either.
Right.
He's
And
a
he's an
team guy.
outstanding shooter, and he plays defense.
Yeah, I mean he's a real good player.
I just love Jimmy. Frank, you want to break the tie?
Oh man, jeez.
Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson.
Jimmy Butler or
As far
Klay
as-
Thompson.
As far as I'm concerned, I would take either one of them on the Knicks anytime, any day,
No kidding.
anywhere.
I know.
I really wanna-
Everyone should just flock to New York because it's the Garden in New York. New York stinks, Brad. It's the worst.
Really? Okay.
Let's see.
Well, we'll see about
It's
that.
the worst.
We'll
For
see about that.
my
I think that there's
pick.
going to be.
How in the world are you supposed to take public transportation in New York? You go to the kiosk and ask somebody. Oh, it's easy. You take the Q train to the F train to the R train to the W train, and then you're there. It's so easy. No, it's not. You have 4 trains to go around.
Well, yeah, that's
Stupid.
That's the subway.
All right, Frank, go ahead. Break the tie.
If I had to pick, man, I really don't want to go with the answer that I usually do, like the little girl in the taco commercials. Why not both? But
But neither one of us are going to have hurt feelings.
You
I
can
know.
also have
You can
both,
hurt
'cause
my
you have
feelings,
The,
I
you have the
don't care.
you have the birth rights to Jimmy Butler, so you can
we,
go
we,
over.
do, we do have the rights to Jimmy Butler.
So the Sixers can go max Jimmy Butler out
That's
and
the thing.
still spend money because you can
mean,
go over the cap.
I
to
do want to
sign your
spend the
players.
money. I do want to spend the money,
You
but
could get Thompson and then re-sign Butler.
You could, but that's not the
You
Scanzano
could,
Sports
but
question.
you can't. A good part of me wants Clay because we don't know what's going to happen with JJ Redick. We know JJ is very reliable with
Yeah, but
beyond the arc.
JJ is older.
But JJ is older, and Clay is a more younger version of a JJ that can actually shoot and can score.
Like he defends better than
Defends
JJ.
better than JJ. But at the same time, I love the move that we made for Jimmy.
Jimmy's just that dog.
I like the moxie out of Jimmy, and it works perfectly
Like Jimmy
with
doesn't care.
with what this team is doing so far this season. But if I really wanted to, I mean, I'll definitely give the money to Jimmy. But I'm not going to give him a max contract. That's my thing. I won't max it out.
So your answer is
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Okay. You
Okay.
understand it's going to take a max contract to keep him.
It is going to take a max contract,
That's just
but
the nature of the beast.
It's going to take a max contract
Yeah.
because there's really like 5 guys.
And it
There's
doesn't matter. I
five-
don't want to hear
there's
anything
5
about
guys.
money.
right.
There's
'Cause-
5 or 6 guys that are going to get max
And,
contracts.
and
this
it all
year
depends on
in free
the
agency.
the potential Ben Simmons contract in a couple of years. So
Yeah,
I do want to play
that's
safe
a
with
couple
them.
years.
It is a couple of years,
Plus, you
but
have the birthrights to Simmons too. You
Yeah.
can go over the luxury
you
tax.
could.
To sign him
That is
back.
true. That is true. But I really like what Jimmy's doing with this
Skill
team so
set,
far.
Money aside,
Money aside,
skill set, X and O basketball wise,
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
hands down.
Okay. Brad lost.
Brad always loses.
All right. I'll read Facebook. Frank, you read YouTube.
All right.
Kyle Meager on Facebook. They still beat 4 All-Stars. They're 73-19.
Man, you've been going at it with
Didn't have
Kyle
KD.
in the comments.
Well, me and Kyle never.
I
agree.
always go out with Kyle too because Kyle just says ridiculous, outlandish things. I think Kyle just says things just because he wants.
If Carson
to be heard.
Wentz has a good season next year, Kyle's gonna hide in a bunker somewhere,
As far as Kyle's concerned, Nick Foles
and he's
is
never gonna come
Nick
out.
Foles is better than Johnny Unitas.
He is all in on
Right.
and
Yeah, Nick is not going to be
On
playing.
Nick
God
Foles
bless him.
debate.
God bless him. But I mean,
Nick's
I
not going to
think
be
it's- I
playing in
think it's
Philly
gonna
next
be-
year.
Yeah, he's not.
You're not having a
Dan
20
Shyrock
$20 million
Jr. They still
backup.
have 2 of the best players in the league on the floor. Well, guess what? The
Absolutely.
Sixers had 2 of the best players in the league on the floor too in that game. They have 2 top 10 players on the floor. Give them some credit. No, because the Warriors sat Klay Thompson and made it a perfect matchup for the Sixers to win that basketball game. And Jimmy still played bad, and they still almost lost. It took a Draymond Green bonehead technical for them to ice that game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler played horrible, and we still won by 9 on the road. Imagine if he were on. Imagine if Klay Thompson played defense against Jimmy Butler, how much worse he would have played. You gotta look at it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. With the Jimmy Butler playing bad, Klay Thompson being inactive. So Alexis Hernandez, Lakers willing to give up 6 players plus 2 first-rounders for AD. She adds ridiculous. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis, it's what LeBron wants.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
I mean,
Luke Walt,
whatever GM LeBron wants, GM LeBron gets.
and the Lakers, if they weren't expecting this, they had to expect that this is what was going to happen when you bring in GM LeBron and Coach LeBron
Yeah, pretty much.
GM
and owner LeBron.
Yeah, but GM LeBron is right in getting Anthony Davis.
Oh, nobody said he's not. However, GM LeBron, if GM LeBron thinks that Ingram, Kuzma, and Ball are going to get you,
Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't
Davis?
it?
Because
And
I
a
think they
first-round pick.
because I think they can do better.
I would do that
They might be able to do better than that, though.
from who?
I don't know. I haven't seen all the offers from all the other teams
The
yet.
Knicks have nothing. The Sixers
No.
don't have anything. He said he's only willing to go to the Warriors, the Lakers, the Nets, and maybe the Nets will bring him. But the only team he's potentially getting traded to in the next
I mean, I think
whatever,
he's going to go to the
4
Lakers.
to 3
I think
days.
they're-
Yeah.
I
is
think-
the Lakers.
Yeah, they're gonna if they don't, then he'll be traded at the end of the season. You know, before, during, or
Hold
after
on,
the
I
draft.
lost my spot here.
Let me see.
As soon as they do the lottery, I think that's when you're going to start seeing
Pretty much,
trades. I don't.
yeah.
I think New Orleans is going to wait and wait till the draft lottery and see who's drafting where.
No, because they wanted the longer. See, I say this all the time when this stuff happens, this drama, this stuff, whatever. The longer the Pelicans wait, the less they're going to get.
Pretty much.
It behooves them to do a trade before Thursday. But they also have to be careful in that they get the most they can. Because Anthony Davis is a top 5 player in the league.
But if they're not getting
Top 10 players
if they're
to
not getting-
save an argument.
if they're not getting somebody worth trading for,
If you're
then they
getting
need to-
Lonzo,
they need
if
to
you're
own
getting
them.
Lonzo Ball, Kuzma, and Ingram,
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything about draft picks. I heard so far the
Well,
best
there's going
offer.
to be draft picks.
Well, yeah. Listen, it's a negotiation, as we know. By the way, the Knicks did get 2 first-round picks in that deal too.
That's correct.
Just wanted to mention.
Okay,
mention
but
that.
they're in 21 and
21
23.
23. Yeah.
That's a little.
The 21
little
one is
further
not
way off.
The 21 one is unprotected. So we'll see.
I'll worry about that in
21.
Yeah. Kyle
Agreed.
Meager, Porzingis 7'3", tore his ACL, and his future's uncertain with that knee being that tall.
Which is true.
The Knicks won that deal. Brad should be proud, to be honest. I don't understand how you can win
Wow,
a deal
Kyle and I actually
when you don't
Kyle
get
and I
the
actually
best
agree.
player in the deal.
But I don't think the guy's going to
The
play.
Dallas Mavericks got the best player in the deal.
But how
How
much
did
is he
they
gonna
not
play?
win the trade?
How much is
I
he going
think
to
they
play
won.
though? Well,
Who won that trade, Frank?
I think Dallas won that trade. I mean, it works both. It works great
These
both ways.
ACLs, people.
I know.
As long as you rehab correctly
Right.
and
If the rehab's going
smart about
correctly,
rehab.
guys his size don't
it's
necessarily.
2000. It's 2019.
I know
ACLs,
that, but-
they're like ankle sprains.
guys-
They're better
but
like
guys his
that. They come
size-
back stronger. Guys get Tommy John these days in baseball. They come back. They throw the ball even harder.
Yeah, but guys
It's
his
ridiculous.
size, guys his size tend to be more injury prone. That's the whole problem.
It's an old school mentality that he tore his ACL. He's done forever. That's not how
Yeah,
it
but
works
it's not
anymore.
it's not
There's
just his-
medicine and technology.
It's not just his ACL that he's had problems with. He's had problems with his back. He's had problems
Your
with his shoulder.
narrative that
He's had problems with
Kristaps
his ankle.
Porzingis is
He's brittle.
injury prone.
Yeah, he is injury prone.
His game totals before his ACL tear do not support your narrative.
He missed
They
26.
just don't.
He missed 26 games.
Missing
in
10
2
games
seasons.
and 16 games out of an 82-game season does not constitute injury prone. I'm sorry.
Oh, I wouldn't be happy.
Especially when he's playing on a dog shit team for a clueless franchise.
Understood, but at the same point, we need him on the court for a lot more than 66 games or 72 games.
Well, clearly I don't know the whole story. I don't follow the Knicks enough. I mean,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah, same-
in the
same
story.
here. I'm not a
so
Knicks guy.
clearly, this bad blood between Porzingis and the Knicks and his agent,
This
his
was
brother,
going-
who is
and
agent,
this goes back
has
to
been
last
going on
year.
for way more than the weeks leading up.
Oh
to
no, this has been going on since before he got hurt. I mean, this was an issue. So I mean, this is not new with what was going on there. I mean, again, we'll see what happens.
All right, Kyle Meager. Zion is a fat dude. Barrett is the better pick, in my opinion. I mean,
But-
we can debate that during draft
yeah.
time. I mean, I love Zion.
I like
think
Zion,
he's just
too.
absolutely electric. I mean,
When
when you get him on
fascinating
an
player.
when you get him in an NBA
Yeah.
like training, weight program,
Exactly.
nutrition type
Yeah.
thing. I mean, he's got.
He's a
Okay.
big dude, but he's a
We're getting-
generational
we're getting-
fat guy.
we're getting a question from Bob here. It says, "How about the rumor of Holiday coming to the Sixers?"
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Okay.
I'm out on
I
that.
mean, as
'Cause
much
he's
as
got to play two guard.
Okay.
he's
and
not
and
gonna
you also
be
have
the-
a weird cap situation as well.
Okay.
As much as I wanted to happen.
D-Love thinks that the Anthony Davis thing was the Bucks, Clippers, Knicks, and L.A.
Yeah, I heard the
Okay,
Clippers
yeah,
were
he's
part
right,
of that
he's
deal.
right.
Yeah.
So okay,
He's
and
right.
Bryce, I'm just going back and trying to catch up a little bit on YouTube. We also have Rob thinking that Jimmy is a better fit defensively and can bring up the ball when needed. And let's see, Drew Lock MVP. I don't know who we're talking about. here.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know why he said that. He's got
What
a
did he say?
Drew
for
Lock.
Drew Brees, I guess.
Oh, Drew Brees,
I
lock for
guess-
MVP.
Nah, I mean, I love Drew Brees, and I was
Yeah,
kind of
the
hoping
Saints,
he
the
would.
Saints
but
lost, Holmes.
I'm very confused.
The Saints lost.
He's got a Canadian maple leaf on his thing. I don't know. Maybe James Wilder can help him out with that one. Figure it out. Maybe it's some weird Canadian dialect or something.
But like Zion, I mean, Zion's a fat. I mean, okay, so he doesn't like Zion. He likes Barrett. Fine. Ralphie's checking in. Lakers getting AD and the Sixers will be irrelevant. That's an asinine statement because the Sixers are always going to be relevant when they
the
have
Sixers can be in the
Joel
NBA
Embiid.
Finals this year. I mean,
as long
I
as
think
they
they
make
have
the
it-
right tweak,
I
as
think
long as
they
they
have-
make some tweaks.
I think they have an opportunity. I think the window is open for them to get to the finals.
And the Lakers are going to, whether it's before Thursday, after Thursday, at the draft and free agency,
The Lakers, the
Hey,
window for the
fellas,
Lakers
Pelicans
is open
have
as long
to take
as
this deal right. They'd be insane not to. I mean, I think that's from Chrome.
Yep.
Chrome, the longer the Pelicans wait, the less they're going to get. They need to work something out with the Lakers before Thursday to get the best deal possible. Or who are the 4 teams? The Bucks, the Clippers.
the Bucks,
Bucks,
Clippers, the
Clippers,
Lakers, and the
Lakers.
Knicks.
Unless
Yeah.
the Clippers or someone comes in, or the Nets, but they don't have the horses that the Lakers do. Ball, Kuzma, and Ingram, and a couple first-round picks. I'm doing that if I'm the Pelicans.
Yeah, I don't see
The guy Davis screwed you because he announced publicly that he wanted to trade.
I don't
which
see-
he's not supposed to do. It's
I don't
against the
see-
rules. He got fined $50,000 for doing so.
I don't see Brooklyn doing that. I don't see Brooklyn making any trades. I see Brooklyn being aggressive at the in free agency. They've got a lot of money under the cap. I also think that D'Angelo Russell is absolutely going to get re-signed there.
He's earned
I think he's
fat
earned max.
contract
I think he's
somewhere.
earned max
He's playing
money.
absolutely
He's been
lights out
brilliant.
basketball this year. Edward Lloyd, Lakers will get AD, but Embiid will still dominate LA. Yeah, I agree with that. Because, I mean, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, that tandem is top notch. They are two on. I mean, maybe Giannis can cover Ben. But, like, I don't know. Not many
Giannis can cover Embiid.
Not many teams have
No, because
the facilities
center-
to cover Ben
the center
Simmons.
position, Embiid is the best center in the NBA.
I'm not even I haven't even gotten to Embiid. I'm talking about Simmons.
Okay, well, I'm just saying Embiid is the best center in the NBA.
And
I've
Embiid's a top 5 player,
and
a
I've been-
top 5
and I've
MVP
been-
candidate.
I've been saying I don't think he's one of the top 3, but I think he is a top 5 player. And I think if you give him the ball in the closing minutes, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Stop giving the damn ball to J.J. Redick in the closing seconds when you need a big shot, and give the ball to Embiid.
Brett's getting better. I gotta give him credit. I'm
is
not the biggest Brett Brown guy, but he
Embiid
is
is
getting
unstoppable,
better.
and he's also a great foul shooter. What the?
Yeah,
Why are you giving the ball to?
I
Why do you
agree.
keep giving the ball to Redick?
he's a good shooter.
I'd rather
and
give
it's always
I would rather.
it always used to be a lazy dribble handoff, but
I would
they're doing
rather
some different
I'd
stuff.
rather give the ball to Embiid because Embiid.
They haven't done that in a while.
Worst case scenario, he will get to the foul line.
Chrome checks back in starting 5: LeBron, Caldwell, Pope, Melo, AD, Chandler, Hart and McGee, and the janitors off the bench. I mean, okay, that's not. I mean, is that a better team than the Thunder have right now? I don't think so.
Thunder are pretty darn good.
I love the Thunder.
Yeah.
I love watching. They lost to the
Tell you what,
Celtics yesterday
They're a
before the
pretty darn
Super
good
Bowl.
team.
That was a highly entertaining NBA game for regular season. The Thunder went to Boston, and Boston beat them. That's another thing with the Celtics. I don't care what their seed or their record is. That the Celtics are extremely good.
Yeah, I
don't
wouldn't
care
worry
what their
about when
win-loss
you
record
wait.
is. As long as they're in the top 8, they're gonna win a couple playoff
if they're in the
series and be fine.
if they're playing in the playoffs, they're going to be tough to beat. But well, I'll tell you what. I said it before the show. I would love to see Brooklyn play them. And God, what poetic justice would that be if Brooklyn knocked them out? after they stole all those picks from them. I mean, it probably won't happen, but you know, stranger things have happened in the NBA, and you know they are supposed Brooklyn. We're talking about. They're supposed to be getting LeVert back by right after the All-Star break. I don't know when.
The Nets are
Dinwiddie's
interesting.
playing. I don't know when Dinwiddie's coming back, and they really miss him. And right now, I think they're going to go into a slump because I don't know how you can not when you don't have
LeVert coming
two
back
of your
helps,
best players. Yeah, but losing Dinwiddie hurts. It's not like they have a lot. They can't score without him.
No, you're right.
I
It's a
mean,
huge
it's
injury.
too. There's
the Nets
too much.
need everything to be perfect for them to be.
And they have
relevant.
had everything perfect so far this
They
year.
have the Sixers number.
They play well against the Celtics too. I mean, they've given everybody a back. Didn't they beat Houston the
They're
other night?
scrappy.
Yeah, I mean they play for 48 minutes. I mean, that's the thing. They don't give up on games. They gave Boston one hell of a battle the other night. I mean, they were down by 20 points in the fourth quarter, and they actually got the lead, and then the Celtics came back and beat them. But I mean, they're a scrappy team.
Kyle Meagher, Clay to the Sixers, so I guess he likes Clay over Jimmy. We get an AD on Wednesday. Let's go. That's from Ralphie. If the Sixers can move
Stop it,
Markelle
Ralph.
and Muscala, I wouldn't
How are the Sixers going to get
I wouldn't
AD?
count it out, Kyle. That's a
And guys, don't start telling me Fultz you're going to trade Fultz and he's
No.
going to get you AD. Stop.
No, that
No
Ralph's
one- no one-
comments
no
just
one said
for
that.
his
No one said
for
that.
his
No one
purple
said
and
that.
I don't
yellow
wanna hear that.
Lakers.
I don't want to
Mr.
hear that.
Delavecchio.
It makes no sense to trade Markelle Fultz before Thursday.
No.
None. He has no value. You got to ride it out with him. Hope he gets together enough. Then the second he shows he remembered how to play basketball, then you trade him when you can get something for him.
Absolutely. That's the best time to do it.
Fultz. Now we're just Edward Lloyd. Fultz, Korkmaz, Butler, Muscala, and 2-1s for Draymond Green, Livingston, and Klay Thompson. That's
Gee, why don't you ask?
kooky
Why
talk.
don't you?
Yikes.
Why don't you get? I mean, I think they should actually.
Let's trade Shandon Sullivan for Jalen Ramsey too. Like, give me a break, dude. I love these Facebook GMs that are just like, oh, well, you have to do it. It's stupid. Greg will have something smart to say. What's up, fellas? Give me Klay Thompson. I want lights out shooters surround my two guys with a sniper. It's a good point.
Well,
It's
that's
really,
kind of what I liked about Klay
It's
Thompson.
really
Klay
close.
Thompson is such a good shooter, man. I mean, I guess maybe is Jimmy
Clay's
a better
obviously
shooter? I don't
Clay's
know.
obviously the better player. Look at his rings. Yeah, but I mean, if Klay Thompson's the best player,
Nah, he's got Stephon.
if Klay
Curry.
Thompson's the best player on your team, are you winning championships?
No, because he has
No.
Curry and Durant on his team
Right. So if Klay Thompson
and Draymond.
if Klay Thompson went to, like, let's say he goes to the Knicks next year, and he's the best player, he's the
No,
only
that's
free
not
agent
gonna-
they get,
That's not
and
enough.
they get Zion or R.J. Barrett.
They won't make the playoffs.
How many games?
They'll win 30 to 35. Maybe.
Maybe.
That's not enough. That's not enough.
Plus a 30-year-old. This is still Greg. Plus, at 30 years old, are you going to max out a guy who's been a grinder and worker? A lot more miles on JB than Clay. I don't max out Jimmy for 5 years whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, but if you don't max out Jimmy,
He's
someone's
leaving.
going to max out Jimmy, and then you're going to be back to 2 stars and have no chance unless you get Durant, which I think, I mean, he could come.
So he could come anywhere.
He can go wherever he wants. There's going to be
Exactly.
29 teams and 30 teams in the NBA. They're going to want Kevin Durant to play for their team.
There's only probably about maybe 10 that could afford him.
Which the Sixers would be one of them,
Correct.
especially if Jimmy Butler's not in the mix. So, I mean, if you're not maxing out Jimmy and telling me you're getting Durant, okay. Because I highly doubt that Klay Thompson's going to leave Golden State. I just think that they're going to go at it with their 3 guys that they drafted, and that'll be that. Boogie and Durant. You know, they'll get the handshake. They'll have their rings. They'll have their MVP awards, and they'll go to other teams. Are you in on Boogie as one of the free? What if Durant and Boogie go to New York? Are you cool with
Man,
that?
we don't
or
need Boogie.
why?
I want Durant and Irving.
Okay, but let's say Kyrie stays in Boston. You can't have
Okay.
Kyrie. You get Durant.
If I get Durant, and who's Durant bringing with him?
I just said Boogie, but
Boogie?
you're not in.
Nah, because I don't really think. How would Boogie match up against Embiid?
He matched up. Well, he was in his head the whole first half on Thursday night.
Because I mean, we're gonna have to beat Embiid in the playoffs. I'm
Marcus
just
Cousin
saying.
is a tremendous center. Brandon Schuff, 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. Maybe Jimmy plays up with Clay on the court. I mean, like I said, Brendan, I got nothing out of that win on Thursday because I got no indication of how the Sixers, as constructed, match up with the best of the best in the NBA.
When they're
So
at full strength.
That's why the win means nothing to me. Just like tomorrow's game doesn't mean much because the Sixers are probably going to lose because Toronto is going to have a tremendous front court and the Sixers are going to be without Wilson Chandler, have to start Muscala, and it's probably going to be a disaster from a rebounding standpoint and a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, you have to look
Porzingis
at.
wasn't good before the injury. Of course, the Knicks won the deal on picks alone. See, am I nuts?
Who's
That's
saying
Greg. Am I nuts? Like, Porzingis didn't play good for you?
that? No, he played very well for us. But again,
Greg Milkovic, Porzingis wasn't good before the injury.
No, that's
of
not
course,
true.
the Knicks won the deal on the picks alone. So the Knicks won the trade based on a pick in 2021 and 2023
no. Listen, I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm
over
gonna tell
a
you right now,
23-year-old, 7'3" guy who
don't win-
can
we
do
don't-
everything on the basketball
we
court.
don't win the trade unless we sign Durant and Irving in the summer. If we sign those two guys, then we can walk around with our fingers wagging.
Greg,
Okay, but
jeez,
that's-
oh man, that's not a good.
No.
That's not a good take by Greg. Love
No.
Greg, but that's not a good take.
I listen.
Jake Friel checks in. What's up? What's up, Jake?
I liked Porzingis. He was a good player, but I mean, so
Mike
it
Parker.
didn't work out.
I don't understand the KP trade. The Knicks never gave him a chance to come back. He's a guy you build a franchise around. I agree.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not on the court. He's not reliable.
But Brad, we went through his game logs. The fact that he's injury prone prior to his knee injury, his game totals don't support your narrative.
Rob, he missed 26 games in 2 years. That's a lot of games. I mean,
How many of those
I
games were the
disagree.
Knicks just out of contention? Where
Probably
they didn't
a
want to
lot of
risk
them.
him?
Probably a lot of them, but I don't believe for a minute it was that they didn't want to risk him. They wanted him out there. I mean, they're listen.
I don't
especially-
understand how you win a trade in the NBA where you give up the best player.
I'm not saying that they win the trade. I'm saying all I'm saying is if they go out and they're able to take the cap space they got and execute it with two top-notch players that are worth max contracts and don't go maxing out crappy players, then they did win the trade.
Greg
if they don't,
says
then
Greg
they
says
lose the trade.
Porzingis is a soft European who only can shoot. I mean, that's
Oh,
just
come on, that's not
just-
true.
That's
He's a
just
good-
not true.
He's a good dribbler. He goes to the basket. I mean, he's a good.
That's just not true.
He's not a good defender, but he gets a lot of block shots because of his height. Okay,
Brendan
but I gotta
Schaaf-
be honest with you. When the Knicks played the Sixers, Embiid had him for lunch.
Well, Embiid has a lot of guys for lunch.
I understand that. I'm not talking about a lot of. Just talking about Kristaps against Embiid. Kristaps was always lost that battle.
Lakers' two first-round picks
you
will
know.
not be highly touted in the next couple of seasons. That's from Brendan Schaaf. I mean, that's a good point. But the Pelicans got to move because if they let him linger, they're going to get less because he's going to sourpuss his way till the end of the season if he doesn't get traded. Anthony Davis, that is. And be a complete detriment to both the NBA because they're going to have one of their biggest stars stuck in New Orleans, unhappy. And they're just going to collude a way to get him to Los Angeles.
Okay, we have another.
Pelicans have to make a move before Thursday.
Okay, we have Bob here saying he thinks the Knicks could have Durant, Cousins, and Zion, a pretty good threesome with physical presence, which would sell in New York. The only problem with Boogie is that, I mean, do you really want to max him out? Is he worth a max contract?
Yes. Yes. See, this is what happens when guys get hurt. And it's with Carson, it's with Porzingis, it's with Boogie. They go away for, a year, year and a half, 8 months, whatever the case may be. And everybody forgets. Everybody forgets how good they are and what they can do, what their skill sets are, how much they can help your franchise win.
Oh, I'm sure he can, but can he
it's
still,
such a now
can he
society.
still
Like,
can he still play at a high level?
have
That's
you
the
watched him
question.
since he came back?
No, I haven't really. Honestly, I haven't really seen him that
Jeez.
much since he came back. How is his level of play? I mean, is he back to
He's
where
a
he
beat.
was?
I mean, it's tough. You can't really judge his numbers because he's the fifth wheel there.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about his
But-
mobility and
Yes.
basically can. Because I know he's not getting the ball like he did before. I mean, that's.
I mean, they're
It's not gonna
working him
happen
up.
like
They're
that.
working him up to the playoffs so he can be full strength in playoffs.
well, that's smart. That's smart. I mean, Bob, in answer to your question,
And Bob's right. That physicality of those three would definitely sell in New York.
well, let me ask you a question.
It would sell in any Northeast city.
Couldn't we just re-up DeAndre Jordan and not use for our salary cap space
But
on him?
DeAndre Jordan is a total detriment. He is a defensive stopper.
But if you have guys that can score, okay,
But Boogie can score and play defense.
okay,
both.
but all I'm saying is if you have guys who can score, okay, really all you're going to need him to do is just get the putbacks and the rebounds. I mean, isn't that kind of what you need out of the center position anyway? If you, and I'm just Rob, I'm just
Boogie-
asking you if you already have, let's say you have Zion and Durant and Irving. Let's say you have those three guys. Okay,
Yeah.
that should be, in theory, shouldn't you have enough scoring there that DeAndre just needs to go out there
Yes,
and
but in
play
the
defense and
scenario
get
that Bob
rebounds?
laid out, Kyrie Irving is not on the Knicks.
That's true. That's true. That's because you spent the money on. That's because you spent the money on Boogie. But you could get Kyrie. Here's my question: would you rather have Kyrie and Jordan, or would you rather have Boogie?
Kyrie and Jordan. Because
Okay, so
Kyrie is a first-team All-NBA
But that's-
point
but
guard
that's-
who's like 25 years
But Rob,
old.
that's my point. Do you understand
26,
where
27 years old.
Yeah, do you understand my point now?
I understand, but
And again, this is all conjecture because I mean, there's still, if one of these guys is gone, maybe the Knicks end up with with Kemba
But
Walker or
DeAndre-
somebody like that. I'm just saying, if you have DeAndre Jordan, okay, as a center, and you have an ultra talented offensive team, he'd fit on on the right team.
right. DeAndre gets to play defense, and he doesn't need the ball on offense.
Right.
So he would definitely fit on a superstar team like that. Deion Brown, Sixers have a very good shot at being in the finals. I still believe we need two consistent three-point shooters to get over the hump late games in the playoffs. See, I don't agree. I think the Sixers have plenty of offense to get to the NBA finals. You need a four who can defend, and you need a guy on the perimeter who can defend. Two guys on the Knicks that fit the bill are Noah Vonleh and Wesley Matthews. Now, it seems like the Knicks are either going to try and trade Matthews or buy him out.
He is a buyout candidate.
Now, what's
for
that?
Sure.
I would give up a second-round pick for Wesley Matthews.
That's really all I think the Knicks are asking right now, and
He's
he's
not
also
worth a first-round pick.
no, but he's also expiring contract, so you're not stuck with his money next year. This could be a this-year move only.
Like, whatever.
So, no, I'm just saying he's not going to hurt your.
I'm for now.
He's not going to hurt you
Because
he's
we
not
played
gonna-
your Knicks games in Philadelphia for 5 years with the losing and the cap space and the draft picks, and we're done with that here. We have Joe and Ben and Jimmy, and we need reinforcements.
Yeah, your
because
second
Wilson
round
Chandler is out.
Your
for,
second round pick is the 60th player in the draft. So who the hell needs it anyway?
All right, let's get through some more of these comments. There will be no trades before the deadline. I mean, if the Sixers make no trades before the deadline, then that would make me mad. Here's Buddy. Buddy's ribbing you on Facebook.
Oh, he always does.
He says you loved Porzingis when he was on the Knicks. Stop. And we've been on the air together a lot. You have professed your
I
love.
still do love
Porzingis.
Porzingis, but he's not on the team anymore. What do you want me to do? I can't sit here. I have to support the team.
Buddy
I hate seeing them. I hate seeing him gone. But I mean,
Buddy White also says the only free agent you guys have a shot at is Melo.
thanks, bud. Really? We've been that route. Oh God.
Yeah. Hey, and
Melo.
I think Buddy's right.
Oh, stop. You know what?
I know it's New York. Everyone wants
You
to
know.
play
You know what, buddy? The next time you go fishing, I hope you catch a hermit crab.
All right, we got to take a break. HUD Radio, Real Talk Studios, Sports Hounds. We'll be back right after this talking about the Super Bowl.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Back in the Real Talk Studio, Sports Hounds, second hour, exclusively on YouTube. Check out A2D Live or various social media accounts for the link. As always, Sports Hounds brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified accountants. Visit GibsonMayerLLC.com. Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby producing the show as usual. Well, let me get back to YouTube here. 'Cause we had an angry YouTuber in the chat.
I'm just trying to figure this one out. This user.
You listen to me right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Right now. I mean, what does he have to say? Maybe he has something good to say.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a wrestler and he's got something he wants to say.
Yeah. I mean,
I asked him why should we listen to
yeah,
him?
and he's not giving an answer.
He's not
He
playing,
ju-
he's
may-
not
maybe
playing ball.
maybe he just wants to hear us listen. He wants to listen. Maybe he wants to listen to himself on here. Oh well. Whatever.
But
Until he replies back, we'll
it's not an
figure it out.
audio message. How am I supposed to?
Like,
Whatever. We digress.
Yes.
are you, like, I don't even know if it's a threat or he's just
I'm
trolling with
dragging-
us.
I'm dragging this out because
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Me neither.
I mean, the Super Bowl.
That game
The Super
was
Bowl.
horrible. That was worse than the what was it, 48?
48. Yeah.
8 or whatever it was.
That
when
was
this-
worse than the Seattle-Denver game.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, 42 to 8 or something?
Yeah, 40.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
highly
unbearable.
it was highly unentertaining.
The Buccaneers Raiders Super Bowl
Oh,
in
yeah.
02 was
30, 37.
But there was a lot of
Jeez.
points in that. There was turnovers. There was action. I had nothing in that game yesterday, and I had horrible commercials.
That was awful. Like,
Terrible game.
terrible
Now, for as
game.
much as I praised
terrible
Jared,
commercials. Terrible halftime show.
Jared Goff was
he stunk.
an
It was a
absolute
disappointment.
clown
Absolutely.
yesterday in that game. He
And
was
That-
terrible.
When
Brady wasn't much better, to be
No,
fair.
Brady was pretty bad too.
when the moment when we noticed that Todd Gurley only took one snap in that entire first half, just really
It's going to come out in like 2 days that he had a torn ACL the
Yeah.
whole time, right? I mean, that's the only, like,
Yeah, you know
it
something. There
really
was something-
shows how much the Rams
meniscus
offense
tear, something.
revolved
Something's
around
gonna-
or maybe some ridiculous disciplinary issue. But
Yeah, but for weeks, it's been weeks with
that
this.
is true. But I think but
But he ran
I
for
really
over
hope-
100 yards against
Exact-
Dallas.
You don't
Exactly.
discipline. You only
I
had 10
know.
carries though. The Dallas defense just crumbled.
pretty much. But it really shows how
But-
much that offense revolved around Gurley. And you saw when C.J. Anderson did Bupkis, and you saw how much the O-line didn't hold up.
But see, I was disappointed because I spent 2 weeks when Brad was on vacation praising Jared Goff and how much I thought he matured and grew up in the NFC Championship game, winning a big road game and getting to the Super
Right.
Bowl. And then he just gave it all back yesterday, and then some.
And I thought this air raid system, especially when I was going to get to it on the fix, I thought that air raid is going to give the Pats a little bit of a difficult time.
Didn't
But-
it all? Didn't it all?
Didn't at all. And I mean, give the Pats a lot of credit. They adjusted to their game plan and capitalized on it. Well, even though it wasn't the best of defense
the Rams-
capitalizing over the turnovers, but
But the Rams and Wade Phillips.
The Rams were inept yesterday.
Yeah, they were inept.
offensively.
But their
Yeah.
their defense wasn't.
No, their
Marcus
defense.
Peters played fantastic. Wade Phillips had an excellent scheme.
The-
He didn't-
Their
he didn't-
defense.
the
Their
D- the
defense
D-line.
was
He
really
didn't let the
good.
James Whites and
Right.
Burkheads just. Brady wasn't checked down into death like he was against the Chargers and the Chiefs.
That's because
really.
they didn't continuously play zone, and they were going after him, and they were waiting for a lot of those screen passes. Brady wanted to set up. He purposely was having incomplete passes because the Rams were sniffing it out. I mean, they did a terrific job defensively, but offensively, you know what Jared Goff who he reminded me of in that game? Do you remember the Giants Super Bowl against the Ravens in 2000
Yeah.
when Kerry Collins threw
The
5
Kerry
interceptions?
Collins
Yeah,
game,
and no
geez.
shots.
Okay.
Yeah, but that defense, Kerry Collins. I mean,
Well, that was an
didn't
all-time
they
great
beat the,
defense,
Didn't
but
they beat the Vikings like
they beat
48
them 42-0.
in the championship?
Yeah, that was another great game by the Vikings in a big spot.
Everyone knew that the winner of that NFC game was just going right to the woodshed against that Ravens team.
Oh,
Like,
that
there
Ravens
was no
defense
way.
was so
there was
good.
no way that.
Yeah,
Ravens team
I
was
thought
losing
the
that
only way
game.
the Giants were
Right.
going to win that game is if they could get some defensive scores. And I think didn't they get their touchdown on a punt
kick
return or kick return?
It was a
Back
kick
to-
return,
there was
yeah.
back-to-back kick
Yeah.
return touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jermaine Lewis ran the kick back for the Ravens, and then the Giants guy,
Yep.
I forget who it was, ran theirs back. Maybe the Giants guy did it first. I forget.
I can't remember. Yeah, they
But-
got destroyed in that game.
All right,
But that's what he looked like Kerry Collins.
Okay, Brad. Here
He
I'm
just
gonna,
looked
I'm gonna
completely
tee you up
confused.
for this one because I'm a Brady guy all the way in this Brady Montana debate. I don't even really think it's a debate because Tom Brady is just that good. He's that dude. But you are vehemently in favor of Joe Montana being ahead of Tom Brady on the QB pecking order. Explain.
I just think he was a better quarterback, and I'll tell you what. A lot of it, and this is the whole thing with Brady. Okay, he's been great, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but the AFC East has been absolute dog shit for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with the exception of maybe a couple of decent Jet teams thrown in there. Okay, that division has been horrible. I mean, he automatically gets 6-0 every year in that division, literally. Okay, so when did Montana ever get that kind of a situation? Montana had to go up against the Rams with Eric Dickerson. Okay, that was never an easy game. I'm trying to remember who else was in that division back then. But San Francisco never had the kind of gifts and the cheesecake games that Tom Brady has had over the years. The Patriots always had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, or were second. They were always getting buys. San Francisco didn't always get that choice because of what a difficult division and league they were in. I also want to say this. I know, Joe won four championships. Okay, when the 49ers were in their heyday, they also had to go up against the '85 Bears, the '86 Giants, and the '87 Washington Redskins, who were three of the best teams of all time. Not easy. And, arguably in '84, that 49er team may have been one of the best teams of all time. So you had, in a 4-year period, you had four of the best teams of all time playing, especially defensively. But if you take a look at Montana, and yes, he had great weapons, but you know what? First, number one, you can't look at Montana's statistics with yards and everything because they're completely different rules.
Yep, different
Okay.
rules. And then
Nobody
So
threw
you're
for $4,000.
you're a Montana guy too.
I mean,
Don't sit on a fence like you did the last time.
I'm
We
not
need
gonna sit
strong
on the fence.
moves.
I
Moves here in the Sports Hounds.
and you also take a look that Montana
He was a lot more-
he lost 2 seasons too because of an elbow injury.
Right. He
Taken
also-
by your Giants in the
Well, that was
1990
thanks to-
NFC Championship
Yeah,
game.
Right,
that
well,
was
Brady
that
towards-
vicious
Brady
hit.
towards-
That was that
it-
vicious
It
hit.
was a vicious
on
hit.
by George Martin.
Right.
When he came from behind and he hit him from behind, he forced that fumble, and the Giants got the field goal to tie that game up.
Right.
Or no. That was
It-
14. That made it
it-
14 to 12.
14
That
to 12.
didn't. That didn't.
It
that
led
wasn't
to
the winning
their
play.
to their eventual win.
Right, because the next series, the 49ers, I think Craig fumbled. And
It was the fumble. Yep.
Yeah, then Hostetler got him down to like the 22-yard line, and Matt Barr kicked the 40-yard field goal to win the game. But if you take a look back, that was also, I think, Young played that game as well.
Yeah. He came in the rest of that game.
He came in late, but Joe Montana was playing against some all-time great teams. Tom Brady.
So it wasn't a hard cap when Joe Montana played?
There was no cap, but there really wasn't much free agency either.
Pretty much. No.
No, I mean, it was kind of like the best team money can buy.
Right.
The 49ers bought a lot of good players, no doubt. But when I go back to the eye test, Tom Brady never was able to take the football, bring it down, and run for 20, 25 yards and get out of bounds and get first downs the way Joe Montana
So he's
did.
not a scrambler.
No, Joe Montana could run.
Okay.
I mean, he could do it all. I mean, he could throw. He could run. He could throw on the run. It didn't matter if he was running to his right or to his left, and he was like laser precision. I mean, he was
Tom
a
Brady's
machine.
now. Granted, you're a lot older than me, but Tom Brady's the best I've ever seen at avoiding the rush. Not necessarily tucking the ball and scrambling for a 40-yard play, but stepping up, stepping backwards, stepping sideways to avoid the rush. Tom Brady is supremely elite at doing that.
Well, so is Montana.
Understood.
Except on one play.
But for you to just shortchange Brady because he can't tuck the ball and run for 40 yards, I think
Well,
that's stupid.
I'm not shortchanging
I'll
him.
play
I'm just
ball
saying
with your
I-
argument, but
I've
that's-
walked.
that's
I,
nonsense.
after watching, as I said, and doing the eye test on both those guys, I mean, I think he was a more talented quarterback than
Right.
Brady. I think he was a little bit more athletic than Brady. Now, I'm not.
So you think Montana has stronger arm than Brady?
Oh, he definitely had a stronger arm than Brady. Absolutely. A lot of guys had stronger arms than Brady.
Right.
They just weren't accurate. Like Brady is accurate beyond.
Brady has a cannon.
Well, not
He's one of the
anymore.
strongest arms of all time. Still.
And he still does.
He's throwing deep balls to Philip Dorsett in
Right.
20-mile-an-hour wins in the AFC title game. Where we're like, what are you talking about?
But he's not throwing 50, 60-yard passes anymore. It's like 40, 45
Because he
yards.
doesn't have a
is his max.
receiver that's conducive to doing that.
I just don't know that
He
he's
can
that.
uncork.
I don't know if he's that
Tom
effective
Brady
throwing
can
the
still
ball long.
uncork it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Are you kidding me?
Montana had a great
Are you
arm,
letting
too.
your hatred for the New England,
I didn't
Boston area
listen, let me tell you something. I didn't like
get
the
in the way of your
49ers.
argument here?
I didn't like the 49ers either because the way they used to run up the score on everybody all the time. They were a pretty despicable team back then. Okay? I mean, they had no problem beating teams 42 to 10 and
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
If you don't like
and,
it, stop it.
I'm just saying that was not something that was out of their realm. They love to do that. And Bill Walsh with that West Coast offense, where do you think Belichick got that offense from? Got his offense from? That offense is Bill Walsh's offense.
Yeah, but every offensive scheme started with the Bill Walsh West Coast offense. Every offense in the league today has a variation in one way or another out of the West. The guy was a pioneer. He invented the evolution of the
And he
forward
had a
pass.
quarterback who executed it.
I don't know.
perfectly.
I mean, Montana's 4 for 4 in Super Bowls, and that's fine. But I see a guy in Brady, who has been to 9 Super Bowls. He's won 6 of them. The last time he didn't play in an at least an AFC Championship game was 2009. So
Listen, they're a great team, and their coach,
Right.
Bill
you wanna-
Belichick.
if
Bill
you wanna hold-
Belichick. Bill Belichick also is one of the all-time great coaches, as was Walsh.
But if you want to hold the AFC East not being good against Tom Brady, I mean, I agree with you that it's not good, but that's
All
not
I'm saying is
that's not
had
Tom Brady's
but he
fault.
had a playoff. He's had a playoff advantage every year in the fact that New England never had to worry about whether they were going to make the playoffs or not. They could sleep through the season to make the playoffs. Joe Montana always had to worry about that. They went up against some of the great teams in history and couldn't get to the championship. Do you think the Patriots would have beaten the '85 Bears? I doubt it. They definitely weren't going to beat the '86 Giants or the '87 Redskins. That wasn't going to happen either. I mean, they were up against some of the great teams. At '88, the 49ers won it. '89, the 49ers won it. The Giants stopped them from the three-peat. But I
They
mean,
did.
those 49er teams in the 80s were unbelievable. It's just unfortunately for Montana, he couldn't get to the Super Bowl every year
He
because
couldn't.
there were some great teams out there. I mean, the '85 Bears may have been the greatest team of all time.
That entire decade. I mean,
and
especially
Giants,
with me
the
growing
Giants
up.
defense back then, when they had Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, and Carl Banks,
Yeah.
and the same, all three great linebackers. I mean, that team was unbelievable.
Yeah, and with me growing up, I always enjoyed watching the Montana games, especially classic 80s hard-nosed football.
How old are you, Frank?
I'm 26, but just
What do you mean? You're younger than me. How did you see the Montana game?
well,
and
I mean,
didn't?
in reruns, like watching some of the NFL films and all that, like all the NFL Network footage when they had the classic games.
I know Brady has had a lot of great comebacks. Have you seen some of the comebacks Montana had?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Oh,
they
my
didn't
God.
they didn't call him Joe Cool for a reason. Like
He
he
was
was cool, calm, and collected.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the
Who were
things he's
Joe
done.
Montana's receivers?
Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark,
John Taylor,
So pretty good.
pretty good.
I know who
pretty
they
good.
were. And
Roger,
I know who they are.
Roger
and I know
Craig, Roger Craig, and Tom
Right, running
Rathman
back.
were the running backs.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, they-
Loaded
absolutely, absolutely. And
weapons. Did
Loaded
you
weapons.
see the
Tom Brady's
slop that
best-
Tom Brady
Tom
played
Brady's
with
best
yesterday?
receiver was
Receiver?
Oh,
probably-
of course. I mean, you do have. I mean, Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman, Gronk,
I mean, who's
And
his,
then what happened
Terrell
when?
Patterson,
And then
Philip
what
Dorsett.
happened?
Troy
What happened
Brown.
the one season that you gave Tom Brady Randy Moss?
And they
He threw for 50 touchdowns, set the record.
set the record, but the Pats defense failed him.
Okay, I'm
on
just
that one.
saying.
Yeah,
Joe Montana had a receiver in Jerry Rice that was 10 times the player that Randy
oh
Moss
yeah,
was
absolutely.
every year of his career. And he had a number 2 receiver in John Taylor.
John
that-
Taylor was great.
Yeah.
That
He
was
was really good.
who's a good comparison guy today? John Taylor.
Whew. John Taylor. Hmm.
JoJo Schuster.
Juju
Juju.
Smith-Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay, so he had
I think that's a pretty good comparison. Don't
so
you
he
think?
had J.J. Rice and Juju as his
Yeah.
receivers his whole career.
pretty
Say yeah.
pretty much.
Brady had Moss for 1 year with Welker in the slot.
Right.
He's had Edelman yesterday. Gronk, I don't know what is going to
Gronk went
happen.
missing. Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen to Gronk after this year. I
Yeah.
mean,
I have a feeling
Gut
he's
to-
coming back.
I think the opposite. I mean, he doesn't really seem
But-
interested.
Like I'm not going to discredit Brady as he of course he is an all-time great,
How
but
about when he was? How about like when?
We've got some.
How
we've
about
got-
in
I just
07
can't-
when he had David Givens and Troy Brown as his
Yeah.
starting receivers?
We have
That is true.
Bryce Blackwell saying Brady is a hell of a player, but Montana better than Brady. Brady cheated for his first 3. I don't want to get into the cheating thing, so forget
Stop.
that.
Yeah, stop. You ain't cheating.
Robert
you ain't cheat-
Mazzi.
You ain't cheating. You ain't
Hello,
trying.
Bob, and he
Stop.
thinks Bryce is right. Montana was better, and I can tell you that Robert watched Montana. Robert is a couple of years older than me, and we've watched plenty of Montana. Well,
right.
listen, and I'm not taking
Is that
anything
your boy
away
from
from.
Vegas?
No, that's Robert Krupp.
Okay.
He's the one I go to Yankee games with.
Oh, Bob,
Oh.
Yankee
Yeah.
Bob.
Yes, Yankee Bob.
Okay.
Yes, Montana to me was the best quarterback I ever saw. I mean, he was ridiculous, and he was so hard to sack because he was so fast and so damn
Right.
elusive.
Brady never gets touched.
Because but he doesn't get touched more because of his line. Montana would run away from the rush. I mean, if you take a look,
Brady avoids the rush subtly. He
Right,
doesn't
but if
have
you
the
take-
I can't dispute
he's
that
not
Tom
an
Brady
athlete
doesn't have the
like-
athleticism of Joe Montana because Joe Montana was the better athlete.
did you see?
I can't argue
All right,
or
let me ask you a
dispute that.
question. Have you seen on replay the Dwight Clark play
Of
against the
course.
Cowboys? Okay,
Of course.
that was one of the most athletic plays by both
Okay.
Montana and Clark. Brady doesn't make those kind of plays. He never made
No,
those
Brady
kind of
just
plays.
drives you down with 2 minutes to go and
with precision like passing. And again, I'm
a
not
killer-like mentality.
Absolutely, and also Brady's also lost a few Super Bowls. You know,
I mean,
he's
he's
lost
6-3.
He's 6
He's
and
lost
3.
to the Giants twice and the Eagles.
Only NFC team.
So if
East
Tom
teams
Brady
are able
was-
to
if-
beat him,
So if Tom Brady was 9-0 in Super Bowls,
then there'd be no argument.
Then, yeah, exactly.
Then
okay,
there
what if
wouldn't
he
be
was
any
8-1?
argument. There still wouldn't be an argument.
Okay, what about 8-2? or
Yeah, but
whatever.
3
So
losses-
7-2, whatever. 7-2.
Well, let's
7-2. If he's 7-2, is that
see,
why it started? Because he lost the 2.
Here's the other thing, Rob. In Montana's Super Bowl.
So if he beat, let's just say his 2 losses were to your Giants, and he beat Nick Foles and the Eagles last year. Are we even having this debate, or is it not even a debate?
no, I still think Montana was better.
But if he's 9-0, then
Well, then you can't. I mean, there can't be an argument because he's 9-0. I just think Montana back then, that 49er team with him out there was
I hate
so
arguments
good.
based on rings and
And
records.
I
See,
hate
yeah,
that
I
argument
mean,
based on
and
rings
listen,
too.
because
listen,
Trent
and
Dilfer's better than Dan
I can make.
Marino.
He's right, but
Right.
here's
Robert
the,
Ring-
Ring-wise, Dilfer's
yeah,
better than
and-
Marino, but
and-
Marino's a
and
far
guys,
superior
hey
quarterback
guys,
than Dilfer.
here's an argument that I could make for Brady, even though I don't want to make this argument for Brady, is that Steve Young won a Super Bowl with the 49ers as well.
Right, because
With-
that was a money-made team. That team was loaded. There was no
Yeah,
salary cap.
Absolutely,
And then all those
Steve
players,
Young was also a Hall of Fame quarterback, by the way.
right, and then all those players got bought by Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, and they went on their run.
Yes, exactly. They took Dion and Charles Haley.
Okay, so if
And then
Joe
they won their
Montana
championship.
operated in a hard cap and wasn't able to have Clark and Craig and John Taylor and Jerry Rice and Ronnie Lott on defense, he wouldn't have been 4-0 in Super Bowls. No, he wouldn't have.
He wouldn't have. I'll,
No,
I'll agree with that.
wouldn't-
He wouldn't have.
He probably wouldn't have. And keep in mind, back then, the AFC sucked.
Yeah.
The AFC was pathetic.
I mean, I can't speak.
I mean, the
know
teams-
the NFC,
the
all
teams-
the 80s
The
teams,
teams,
are
the
NFC
80,
teams.
the 80s AFC teams
We're
were
putrid.
dog shit teams.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, okay? The Denver
Because
Broncos.
The
70s
Broncos.
The Broncos basically were whooping boys.
Yeah.
They went
yeah,
in.
well, Elway
they-
just couldn't win against them.
He
against
never
the
had a
NFC
chance
teams.
because Denver's defense just got run right over every year. And then the Buffalo Bills went in and they got run over
Yeah.
every year. So I mean, and that's basically what happened for that period. And the only team that really gave the 49ers a battle in the Super Bowls were the Bengals. I mean, the 2 games that the 49ers played, the Bengals were dogfights.
Yeah.
The Kenny Anderson game that went in Montana's rookie year when he won the Super Bowl, and then the second one in '89 when Montana made that unbelievable drive with 2 minutes to go in the game. Which, by the way, as a football fan, I can remember watching that game. When the 49ers got the ball with 2 minutes to go in the game, I was at a party and none of us thought that the Bengals would stop them. I mean, nobody in that house thought. Everybody in that house knew Montana was going to drive him down the field. But I mean, look, there was a lot of great quarterbacks back. I mean, Elway was a great quarterback too.
Elway and Marino.
I mean, Marino was great too, but the Dolphins had nobody. And by the way, when Marino played
Montana 19.
Montana murdered him.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat him 34-16. I think that was the score, right?
It
was a blowout.
was
I think it was 34-16.
38-16.
38-16. Okay,
Yeah.
I was close.
It was close. It was
I
a
got the
blowout.
16. I got the 16 right.
Yeah, it was a blowout.
It was they crushed him.
Yeah.
They crushed him. I mean, and that team was a great. That was a. Some of those teams were really great teams. I mean, generally, the 84 49ers are considered the greatest team in the history of the NFL, and even better than the undefeated Dolphins. And the undefeated Dolphins, we all know about their easy schedule and how ridiculous that season was with them. 'Cause
Bryce-
do you know that they didn't play one team over 500 all season until the playoffs?
That I did not know.
Yeah, the best team
The
they
more you
played.
know.
They played the best teams they played all season were the Jets and Giants, who were both 7-7. Every other team they played during the season was under 500.
Bryce Blackwell, I respect Brady, but he's got 3 losses, should be 5. Atlanta and Seattle choked. That's erroneous. Atlanta and Seattle choked because Brady kept the heat on the whole game. Like that's a stupid argument.
I mean, I could give the Seattle one argument because you that was probably one of the worst play calls in Super Bowl history where you
What's
had
it called when you almost win?
a loss.
Losing.
A loss.
That's what Atlanta and Seattle did. They lost.
They lost.
They were overcome by the moment.
Right.
Brady was cool, calm, and collected the entire time and led his team to victory. Period. End of
See,
story.
back in the 80s.
Don't try and diminish Tom Brady's
when
legacy.
Montana-
because
I'm not
other
diminishing.
teams.
I'm
No,
not
but this is
diminishing
what
it.
people
No,
do.
no.
Montana's real Super Bowls back in the 80s were his championship games against the rest of the NFC teams. Those were his real Super Bowls, because when the AFC when all those teams had to play against the AFC teams, they were destruction. I mean, if you look back, Denver got destroyed by the Giants. Then Denver got destroyed by the Redskins. The Bears destroyed the Patriots. The 49ers made mincemeat out of the San Diego Chargers. I mean, it was just the Super Bowls back then. Back then, the Super Bowls used to be 52-10 every year. You know, I mean, you take a look at one of them. I think Montana one of his games was 55-10, right?
That was I remember 55-10. I know that was
That was the Denver game.
I believe that was the Denver game. Yep.
I think it was, and they San Diego they
San
murdered San
Diego
too.
But that was a Steve Young game as well.
Right, that was a Steve Young. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a Steve Young.
That
game
was the
with
Steve
San
Young
Diego.
Bowl,
Yeah. But Montana he was so efficient, and you know when he won these games, I can't remember too many games where he really wasn't good, and that was even his regular seasons. He had better regular seasons.
Consistent.
I mean, he was so good, and he was so tough to stop.
Like even when I look at the argument of greatest of all time, especially in a league like the NFL, you have to. I usually take in consideration. All right, how were the rules played back then? How are they applied now?
Well, here,
And-
Bob makes a good point in the YouTube chat. I think Brady is more successful
Oh,
in
yeah.
a league with more overall QB
Oh
talent.
yeah, exactly.
Montana played with fewer elite
Exactly.
quarterbacks.
I mean, Brady.
That's true.
In this current era alone, he's the greatest in this era alone. He's better than your Peyton Manning. He's better than
absolutely.
Rodgers, Drew Brees. There's no doubt about it. But leading up to that era, who would be the greatest quarterback of that era pre-Tuck rule? Obviously, it's going to be Montana.
Right. And before Montana was Unitas.
Oh yeah, I agree. Those three quarterbacks
just
right
because,
there. And I said it.
just because Bart Starr
Right.
won two Super Bowls, won the first two Super Bowls,
Right.
and won all those NFL championships.
That's all that matters.
No, but nobody
all
is
that
saying
matters.
that. But nobody is saying that Bart Starr was the greatest quarterback
Exactly.
of all time.
And
I mean,
hands
and
down,
that's my point about with Brady.
right.
Is Bart Starr the greatest quarterback of all time? I watched Bart Starr. Okay, Bart Starr was good. I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not
I
saying-
wasn't alive at all.
I was, but
I've heard the stories of Bart Starr.
Bart Starr was really good.
Great quarterback.
But but listen, the Packers, make no mistake, the Packers
They were a
Packers
great
were
team.
Jimmy Taylor in the sweep.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
The sweep,
and Carroll Dale on the bomb.
Yeah.
That was the Packers.
And I said this on Saturday's show when Kyle was going about Brady's not the GOAT. And I brought up both Montana and Unitas as those three important quarterbacks in the different eras of the NFL.
Anybody who would say that Starr
Right.
was better than Unitas didn't know a damn thing about football.
Well,
but
he won-
Unitas
how
only
many
won. Unitas only won, I think, one or two championships.
He only won one.
He won one.
He only won
no,
one.
he won one
Bart Starr-
championship and one Super Bowl.
Yeah, one champion.
He won the Super Bowl in '71 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah, that's right because he was injured.
He was terrible.
He was terrible
in
that year.
game. He was terrible in that game, by the
And
way.
Earl Morrall carried that team.
Yeah, and Jim O'Brien kicked 3 field
Yeah.
goals and won that game 16-13.
Right.
But nonetheless, Johnny Unitas was way better than Bart Starr.
Oh, yeah.
Ever was.
And if you trace like the modern day quarterback, you trace that
To Johnny
Unitas.
Unitas,
Johnny
not Bart
Unitas
Starr.
was what the modern day quarterback would be over the course of the year.
Absolutely.
Johnny Unitas was the foundation of what we see in a quarterback.
Johnny Unitas
today.
was Marino back
Yeah.
in the day. Okay, he had the same command on the field as Marino. But again, you know, the league was a lot different then.
Yeah, different leagues,
And
different
you had,
times,
and you
different
had,
rules.
and they ran the ball a hell of a lot more back
Yeah.
then too. You know, I mean that's just how the game was played. You know, I mean
absolutely.
the Cleveland Browns back then, it was hand the ball to Jim Brown.
Hand the ball to Jim Brown and watch Otto Graham do something. that was it.
Yeah, they're going to hand the ball to Jim Brown. Okay, first if it's 3rd and 22, well, okay, we're going to do a draw to Jim Brown because he'll probably and you know he'd pick it up because they couldn't tackle
Right.
him. You know, but it was a different game back then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wanted to use Star as the prime example with Unitas. That's how I compare.
Right.
That's how I compare Montana to Brady. Listen, and Brady is great. I'm not taking
he's great.
anything away from Brady, and he's so good. He's so good. It's almost annoying to watch
Pretty
how
much.
good he was.
Exactly.
Because yesterday you're watching the game, and when it got into the fourth quarter, I just kept saying to myself, the Rams better score because eventually Brady is going to put together a drive.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you
he
saw
just
that
will,
drive.
and he did.
Yeah.
And he did. He
made the
decided,
big pass
okay.
to Gronk,
Yeah.
gave it to Michelle, and took it in.
No, he just decided, you know what? I'm going to throw a couple of passes to Rob Gronkowski.
And not
that
only
was
it was 3 of the same play, two to Edelman and then the 1 to Gronk.
Yeah. But he threw 2 to Gronk on that one series.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He threw 2
That's
to Gronk,
right.
2 to Edelman, and then the handoff to Michelle, and that
Yeah.
was it. Bang, bang, bang. And let me tell you something. He had, if Belichick wanted to do it 20 times, he had Edelman. He could have thrown the ball to Edelman 20 times.
Yeah.
Then nobody could cover him. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I'll tell you another thing. If Bill Belichick would have let Michelle run the ball a little bit more, they would have killed him because every
Exactly.
time Michelle ran the ball, he was especially in the fourth quarter. They couldn't stop
Michelle
him.
was unstoppable, and then Rex Burke had being very clutch.
Yeah.
Especially in a couple of those third down plays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just so much command out of Brady.
Yeah. And Bill Belichick,
it's oddly fascinating.
and in my opinion, Bill Belichick coached his best game
That probably was
ever.
One of the best.
Because to be able to take that Ram team
Yeah.
and make them look like a pathetic Rutgers offense yesterday, they looked
Exactly.
like Rutgers yesterday.
I thought I was watching a Jeff Fisher Ram squad.
I mean, honestly, I thought I was watching Sitkowski
Yeah.
back there at quarterback with Rutgers, and and seeing my boy Chris Ash on the sideline, clapping and say "attaboy," after
Yeah.
he gets hit. And the fact that he could get up from a hit, because let's be honest, Goff yesterday was under siege.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember more than one time. I think there was one time when Belichick all out blitzed. I think all the rest of the games, all the rest of the plays, he was pretty much getting 4 guys or 5,
Right.
rushing 4 or 5 guys.
Rushing
he
4,
wasn't.
yeah.
He wasn't. He was getting all kinds of pressure. He's bringing guys from different spots.
Yeah.
And the Rams had absolutely no clue where that rush was coming from.
Nothing to counter.
And Goff
McVay and
Goff couldn't figure it out.
McVay and
Goff-
Goff got clowned
Yeah. Oh my God, badly.
by Belichick.
Belichick took him to the woodshed and
Yep.
basically took out the paddle and just
And
spanked
it's a
him.
shame because if they even showed up a little bit, Wade Phillips did a pretty darn good job against Brady
Listen,
and
you
that
stop.
offense.
You stop the New England Patriots and hold them to 13 points.
Right.
That's pretty damn good.
Hold
Basically,
anyone to
the
13.
Giants beat them 17-14.
Exactly.
The Giants held them to 14 in one game and to 17 the other game. That's how you beat the Patriots. Defensively, the Rams did what they needed to do to win that game.
They did
but
by going low.
They turned the Patriots defense into the 2000 Ravens.
Yeah.
they
They did.
They were just. Gilmore. Every time there was a pass, it looked like Gilmore's hand was right in the middle of everything.
Right.
They couldn't complete. They really couldn't complete much of anything. I thought that they should have thrown some more screen passes.
Yeah.
I really do, because it seemed like every time the Rams threw a screen pass, they're
It
getting
was getting
big yardage.
somewhere, yeah.
Some flanker screens, some bubble screens. You should have mixed up some screen passes.
Exactly.
If you can't protect your quarterback, why are you trying to throw 20-yard passes?
All right, let me ask you guys this: Is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer?
You know what? He needs a couple of more years. Of
Couple more
greatness.
years
Couple
and-
more couple of regular season. A
Yeah.
couple of regular season years where he catches.
He's
between
32.
90 He could still. He can. I think he could still get you a couple. If he can give you 2 more years of
Yeah.
real good football.
Exactly.
Get close to 1,000 yards with all these rings. I would give him the benefit of the
Oh,
doubt,
yeah.
but I don't think he's right now. I don't think that he's got
So-
enough.
Isaac Bruce can't seem to get in the Hall of Fame
Isaac
for
Bruce,
whatever
it's-
reason. But
Isaac
Edelman,
Bruce, I don't-
everyone's pounding the table for
Right.
Edelman. I'm sorry, I
I
can't.
mean,
I can't.
if you
Isaac
take a look at
Bruce,
the
boy.
I
Isaac
mean,
Bruce was
he'll
really
definitely get some looks for the Hall of Fame, but looking at his stats right now, he's basically
Who
your
is the-
most pedestrian receiver.
good. Who was the other receiver on that team with Bruce that the Rams had that was
Torrey
great?
Holt.
Torrey Holt.
Torrey Holt was darn good too.
I believe he's in.
Is he?
Torrey
in?
Holt
Is
is.
Torrey Holt in the Hall of Fame? Because he should be.
Torrey Holt.
He was
is-
unbelievable.
Torrey, big game Holt.
Yeah, he was.
Holt is. I don't think he's in.
You're kidding, really?
Let me.
I
let
thought
me.
I remember him going in.
I thought he
Maybe
was.
not though.
I think Falk went in.
Falk definitely.
Falk
went
was in.
Yeah, Falk is in.
Let me see on this.
'Cause
Let me
Torrey
take a
Holt-
look at this greatest show on turf.
I mean, Torrey Holt was.
Yeah.
See, but when Holt was really, really good, Bruce was kind of getting near the end.
Well, they were pretty good on that greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, they were unguardable. They were unguardable.
Yeah. And especially when you look at that, and like even going into this game, a lot of people thought, okay, this is when you look at the Rams stats, there were a lot of comparisons to the
Wow.
greatest show on turf.
Listen to these numbers for Torrey Holt, and this is even better than Bruce because we checked Bruce before. 920 receptions, 13,382 yards, average of 14.5 yards per catch, and 74 touchdowns. That's
Yeah.
that's really good. That's really good. And you consider, man, oh
Wait,
man.
read those again. Hold on, let me bring Isaac Bruce.
Okay.
Up.
He had 920 receptions. Is he in the Hall of Fame, by the way?
Who?
Holt.
Holt? Let me get his stats.
Because I'm going to read
Let's
his
see,
stats
nice
again.
one.
I understand, but I
Torrey
mean,
No.
Holt, he's not.
Torrey Holt is not in.
okay.
No, Torrey Holt, and we can compare these guys to Edelman, okay? Torrey Holt, 920 catches.
Okay, Isaac Bruce had more catches.
How many catches did Isaac Bruce have?
1,024.
Okay. 13,382 yards.
Isaac Bruce had 15,208.
Wow. And these guys played at the same time.
Yeah.
14.5 yards per reception.
Bruce is at 14.9, so it's a wash
Yeah. Okay. And 74 touchdowns for
to Bruce's 91. And Isaac Bruce is not in the Hall of Fame, but Julian Edelman is going to get looks.
Yeah, it's
I'm out. Like,
no, you know
I'm
what?
not sold.
Crazy.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't care about how many.
I mean, if Bruce is not in, how is Holt getting in?
Yeah, that's a good
And if they're
point.
both not in, why?
Every
why,
single
and if
stat.
why should Edelman
Every
be
single
in?
stat you just read, Isaac Bruce had Torrey
is
Holt
better.
beat.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and we're not talking about and neither one. And it's not like Holt's stats were bad.
No,
It's
not,
not. Yeah, I mean, we're not talking chopped liver here. I mean, those are some real good numbers.
Yeah.
And he's not in that league. And I hope Roscoe likes some of these comments we're making about the
Yeah,
Rams.
we haven't heard from Roscoe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we got
'Cause
something
he's probably
here.
sad,
He
right?
said Sue will be back. Okay, well,
All right. Oh, so he's in there. He's in here.
He's in here.
he's here.
Okay.
He's here.
That's his
it's
first comment of the night, though,
Bryce
right?
Blackwell.
His second of the night, yeah.
Bryce Blackwell likes likes Holt. He said Holt was a beast. Yeah, they're both, and
they
they
were
said
both
they
amazing,
and they
yeah.
said they're both not in. Bryce, they should both be in.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
I mean, they got two pieces of the greatest show in with Falk and Warner and Pace. Three pieces right there.
I don't understand Isaac Bruce not
get
being
the
in.
get the five
I
in,
don't-
please.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get how I don't get how either or Holt.
Yeah.
They're both Hall of Famers.
They're both Hall of Famers.
Just because Bruce had slightly
Right.
better numbers, 13,000 yards. Are you kidding me?
You gotta let them in.
I mean, my God, if they were running backs, they'd
Flyers-
be all time.
They're gonna come in next year. That's what I'm thinking. I
They
think
say that every year with Bruce. Flyers
I
won
know.
again.
there we go.
8 in a row. 2-1 over the Canuckers.
Woo!
That's a big win because you know what, Vancouver is
Canucks.
fighting for their playoff lives right now,
Well, some would argue the Flyers are fighting for the playoff.
and
lives
the
as well.
Rangers blew the lead and lost to the worst team in hockey.
At
the
least
Kings,
the Rangers.
4-3.
At least the Rangers are tanking correctly.
Well,
they can't win anything.
They're trying to win. They just aren't good. The problem with the Rangers is there's only two guys on the team that score: Kreider and Zibanejad. And you know you don't win in the NHL with one line. You need more than one line to win.
Bob says Edelman is just with the right QB with good chemistry. I agree with
Yeah.
that because I'm not sure.
He's great because he's in that system.
Yeah.
The Rams.
And I
will
think
be
a lot
ready.
of people were bringing comparisons to Lynn Swan as well with Edelman.
That was Greg's. That was Greg's Facebook thing.
Greg's comparison, yeah.
Yeah. Which is Lynn Swan in the Hall of Fame? He's
Lynn
in the Hall of
Swan-
Fame,
Swan
right?
is in the Hall of Fame.
Swan is, I think he is in the Hall
He's
of
in
Fame.
there, right?
Lynn Swan. Let's see.
And here's another
He
quarterback.
is in the he is in the Hall of Fame as well.
By the way, here's another quarterback that won 4 Super Bowls, and
Lynn Swan.
Terry
was like
Terry Bradshaw, and he couldn't wipe Montana's shoes. He couldn't shine Montana's shoes. Okay.
But Lynn Swan put up, Edelman numbers in the 70s
right.
when they didn't throw like that. And
That's correct.
they were playing the Raiders, and the Raiders would just spear you with the crown of your helmet every
But
play.
in the
and
70s,
kill
the
you.
AFC owned the Super Bowl, and they had the best
But
teams
like,
in
if
the
Lynn
league.
Swan played with today's rules, he would be Moss-like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, Lynn Swan was overwhelming.
So, I mean, I can't buy it. I can't get
Right. I
behind
agree with
Edelman
that.
when we just read 2 excellent wide receivers from the past 20 years, and they can't seem to find their way in at all.
Yeah.
Torrey Holt, no one even talks about him. He's not even a finalist.
I mean, I think the last time I heard Torrey Holt's name, I just mentioned Torrey Holt because I was like, wait a minute, the other guy who Bruce played with was pretty darn good too. Who was that? And then you reminded me it was Torrey Holt, and I was like, yeah, I mean, but again, I want to go back and Terry Bradshaw is another one. Terry Bradshaw, and I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, guys. Don't get me wrong. He was really good, but
yes,
he
but
was not.
He had the optimal situation.
He had Franco. He had Rocky Blyer. I mean, he had
Lynn
every.
Swan.
He had
Swan.
Grossman as his tight end. I mean, he had everybody. Everybody. Hey Tom, we're talking about quarterbacks who won 4 Super
Are
Bowls.
you a Montana or Brady guy?
And we were talking about between Montana and Brady, but then I was trying to bring up the Montana's better, and then I said, well, Starr won the most.
Stop.
But he's not.
Stop with championships. Stop.
Well, yeah, but
How old are you?
and
Okay.
and Terry Bradshaw won 4, but Terry Bradshaw is nowhere near those guys.
I know, and Trent Dilfer is better than Dan Marino. He won a Super Bowl.
He's not, but we know that.
Who's better, Brady or
Thank you.
I've seen both play. Okay. I don't care. He's a leader. And he's 41 goddamn years old.
With no signs of.
Montana was dead after he was 37.
right, let me ask-
He almost
let me-
was killed.
I just think Brady's the best of all time.
Let me ask you this: How much more does Brady have to do to surpass Montana in your eyes? Because you already admitted on this show that if
It's close, though. It's a great
It's real
It's close. It's close.
It's close.
It's not this far thing. Like, if I say Brady, it's 1A, 1B, right? I mean,
That's
Right,
pretty
no,
much what it is.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
especially how the game has evolved, it has to be a 1A, 1B
game-
kind of
the
thing.
game's changed.
He threw the ball great. They were a high-powered offense. Like, if you want to consider a high-powered offense, they were for a good stretch of time where they could light you up. They weren't that typical team back in the late 80s.
Oh, the 49ers?
Yeah, like
They were a machine.
Yeah, like they threw the ball to get leads on you.
You mean-
Bill Walsh.
Yeah, no, they'd score.
when you didn't have a hard cap,
Huh?
when you didn't have a hard cap.
Oh, yeah, you spent all the money you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, but the
I
difference was that they allowed all that crap in the secondaries. They were holding each other. They were bumping and running
The
constantly.
hard cap
I mean,
more than negates that.
Like, look, people talk about LeBron's finals, right? Oh, he went there so many times. But basketball's different than football. Like, to me,
yeah, but there's only 5 guys on the court, so
Yeah.
one guy can have a much bigger effect.
one bigger thing. Like, I just think what he's been able to accomplish with all the different pieces offensively he's had through the years, really never having that star besides like Gronk was, Moss was, okay. But
I mean, who is their best receiver besides Moss? Troy Brown?
yeah, like he made
I know. I get that.
Exactly.
I get.
It's tough. And
Yeah.
you can make the argument, well, like Montana had the best receiver of all time.
But do you think Montana had something to do with him being the best receiver of all time? Because I think that helped.
I just think it's so
I could have been Jerry Rice's quarterback, and he would have been the best receiver of all time.
It's hard to get back. It's hard.
It's really hard to get back.
And to get back. I don't care if they play in the ASC, if they play in the Pac-12. You still got to go through the gauntlet of the playoffs. And what they did this year to go on the road, to win the games they won is just it's ridiculous.
Oh, I listen to go into Kansas City and win there. That was tough. That's tough to do.
All right, so
that offense yesterday is remarkable, guys. It's just remarkable. Bill Belichick is just such a fucking wizard.
I was saying that I thought that's the best. That was his best coached game that he's ever coached.
Oh, I agree.
I mean,
That's so close.
and don't forget, he's the defensive. Bill Belichick is the defensive coordinator of that team.
all right, so I got this ESPN story up for the way too early 2019 power rankings, and the Rams are at the top.
You got to put the Patriots at the top.
You got to
I'm
put the
putting-
Pats or the Chiefs on the.
I'm
at the
putting
top.
KC at the top.
Yeah.
I
And the Chiefs are heavily favored to win the Super Bowl next year.
Well, they have the best quarterback.
They have the best quarterback.
They better go out and get themselves a running back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They'll be fine. They'll probably get Bell, or they'll sign Hunt back
Right.
somehow.
They'll find somebody in the draft
But,
probably.
yeah, they'll get something.
They'll get somebody. They'll get a couple. They'll get a couple of guys that are good. And Andy always seems to find guys that aren't necessarily high draft picks to be good running backs.
And he can't pick in the first round, but he picks in every other
yeah,
round.
but
Really
in the
good.
6th round, he's getting guys that
Yeah.
end up making the Pro Bowl.
The entire 2004 Eagles offensive line
Oh, yeah.
was
I mean,
4th, 5th, 6th round picks.
yeah,
Crazy.
that's. I mean,
So-
it's like what's his name?
let's
Pete
go
Carroll.
over this story. We only got 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
We got the Rams first, the Chiefs second, the Saints third, New England fourth, the Chargers fifth, Bears sixth, Indianapolis seventh, Seattle 8, Houston 9, Baltimore 10.
Really?
Okay, the Eagles are better than the Ravens,
Yeah.
the Texans.
The Eagles should be higher. The Eagles.
I'm
should
not.
be-
I'm not sold with the
The
Seahawks. I'm
Seahawks.
not sold with the Seahawks.
I'll concede. I'll stop. So I would put the
Wow, the Colts aren't in it. The
Colts are
Colts.
7th.
The Cowboys aren't in there either.
Good.
No, listen, I hate the Cowboys, but I'm just saying. Wow,
Cowboys
okay.
are one slot below the Eagles at 13. And hold
Okay.
on, Brad. I got to scroll all the way
all the way down to the Giants. Yeah.
Like
I
the
know.
Browns 15th. That's too low.
That's too high.
The Browns are going to be good next year.
No, there'll be something. They'll be very interesting.
First bold prediction,
to watch.
Browns win the North next year. I'm still scrolling. 21. That's not bad. 21. And then last would be the Raiders. No, there's 32 teams.
What about the
Cardinals?
Jets?
The Cardinals. Jets are 30th.
Okay. Can I make you a personal guarantee
Sure.
to go out? What's the Jets over under 5?
I don't know if they have that out.
Yeah, they
it's
did.
Still too
They,
early.
they did yesterday. I was at
No.
the casino yesterday. Okay.
Because
I was at
we
Resorts.
do know the opponents for next year. We just don't know the order.
Right.
Yeah, I was at
So
I was at it. The Jets. The over under
East-
for the Jets is 5. Okay. Now the Jets are drafting 3rd this year, correct? And they have $100 million in salary
Yeah, they
cap
got a
space.
lot of cap space.
Okay. So I would go to the casino and bet and bet that they're going to win more and take the over now, because after they sign God knows what and get a decent draft, which they should.
Yeah, but this does.
They should be able
the
to hit over
sign in
5.
stuff in playing funny money with the NFL and just bringing in a whole bunch of new guys. It doesn't always work.
Yeah, but they'll win more than 5 games.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Because
This
we
is
know
just
the
an over-under
opponents.
bet.
We know the opponents.
This is
The
just an pure over.
Jets will play the Eagles next year.
Yeah, they'll play the Giants too. That should be a win for the Giants, actually.
For once, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants have a much easier schedule this coming year than they've had in God knows how long. I mean, they get to play the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets.
Hold on, I had it. Okay.
Those are actually 3 winnable games for them.
So the AFC East plays the NFC East.
yes.
Looks like the Central the NFC East will play the NFC Central,
Right.
and then the Eagles have 2 wild card games against the Seahawks and the Falcons. Which
Yeah, and the Giants are
goes
going to get to play.
Goes to the last place schedule and first place schedule.
Yeah, the Giants are going to get to play the Bucks and the Cardinals as their 2 division games against
That's
the West.
probably the most genius scheduling caveat any professional sports league has come up with. The last place, first place schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
genius.
It kind of makes things.
It creates parity
It does.
and creates a level playing field so teams can get better and they're not buried forever like they are in, say, the NBA.
Yep.
Or MLB.
Well, the MLB is different because, the big markets have
Can spend
there's
more
revenue
money.
sharing and luxury taxing and stuff like that, but the A's are never going to sign a Bryce Harper.
How about the Padres?
I don't know.
Padres
know.
are.
I don't
Padres
know
are-
what's going on because I thought everything was going to be fine and Bryce Harper was going to sign with the Phillies today because the stupid video games.
Yeah, I thought the
No.
video game announcement, but there's going to be an announcement
First
tomorrow.
off, we're in an age where a top-notch generational talent like Bryce Harper is coordinating what team he's going to play for
because of a video
with a
game.
video game is the most absolute. It's utter
It's silly.
nonsense. It's silliness.
It's silliness.
Why can't this guy
Yeah.
just sign?
I have a feeling he's going back to Washington. By the way, just a hunch.
How are they going to afford him?
Just a hunch.
They are going to have to
I
pay
have
so
no-
much.
Right.
I have no no idea.
How are they gonna? How can
I just
they
get this
afford him?
funny
They're
feeling
gonna be in
that-
the 90th percentile in luxury tax for the next 10 years.
They're always
they
up
do
there
that.
in salary cap.
Their
with the salary
payroll
cap.
would be their payroll would blow the
and they're gonna
Red
have,
Sox out of the water.
and they would have to get rid of Rendon probably next year or the year after. When's Rendon going to be a free
Rendon
agent?
signed.
Huh? Well, who is it that's not signed that's on that team that's really Trey
Trey Turner.
Trey
Trey
Turner's
Turner.
the one that's not okay. He's
Gotta
the one
keep
that,
him. He's a stud.
Okay.
I love Trey Turner.
He's the one that's going to be a free agent, right? Trey Turner. I know one of their good young players is going to be a free agent after this year.
I don't see him going. There's no other logical fit
Yeah.
than the Phillies.
The only other team.
I mean, if you want to go to freaking
San
Diego,
Diego or
San
if you
Diego
want to
or
go
the
play
White
ball
Sox
with a
or-
bunch of kids who are 3,
or the
4
White
years away
Sox,
from
but-
contending,
right.
that's fine. If he goes to the White Sox, that's fine. The White Sox are way. We were talking with Greg
Yeah.
before you got here. I think
The White Sox are
the White Sox are
pretty
way
close.
closer to winning than the Padres are. If Machado or Harper want to go be clowns and just go to San Diego because maybe they have a bunch of players that'll be good one day and they
Yeah.
want to just sit in the sun all day, that's fine. You want to play competitive baseball in an excellent climate, you're going to Chicago, you're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
also. By the way, I also heard the Cubs are now in on Bryce Harper.
That's fine. I mean,
I heard that got debunked with the
Oh, did
Cubs
it?
Harper. Yeah.
Okay, because I heard that today.
I heard.
I don't understand how
that
the
was
Cubs can
partially
afford
debunked.
him. The Cubs
Yeah.
can barely are
Right.
struggling to figure out how to afford to keep Ben Zobrist on their team. How are they going to sign
Oh, they're also trying to figure
Bryce
out how they're going to
Harper.
keep Chris Bryant as well.
Yeah.
Chris Bryant? I mean, I was a huge Chris Bryant fan. I thought he was going to be the next big thing, like Trout level big. And he's just fallen short. He's
Yeah.
only 27, so he could bounce back, but and I hate the fucking Cubs.
I
Fuck-
can't stand
fuck
the Cubs either.
Yeah.
Can't stand them either.
I'm a South Side kind of guy.
Let's see. I'm gonna check the Twitterverse and see if anything's happening yet
But-
with Mr.
And then
Harper.
like I said, I don't think there's sleeper teams for Harper. I really don't. I think this has been wrapped up with the Phillies for a while since the Vegas, and either Boris is holding out for more money or Boris is holding out until Machado signs to try and get squeeze the Phillies one last time. I do think that there are sleeper teams for Machado. And I brought up the Mets, which you laughed at, and I brought up the Cardinals.
I'll
which,
still laugh about the Mets because that's.
and
not
I brought
gonna
up the
happen.
Cardinals, which you laughed at as well.
I can't see the Cardinals. I think they've
Bob
already-
Nightingale,
I'm not doing
USA
anything.
Today, one of the best baseball writers in the whole country, he seems to think it's like a foregone conclusion that the White Sox are getting Manny and the Phillies are getting Harper.
Well, can we get on with it already?
Please.
I mean,
Come
we're
on,
we're-
crazy video game. Do
we're at-
it.
I mean, we're at 10 days. First off, it's 10 days before pitchers and catchers, and their
Right.
video game's not even out yet.
Also,
well-
Dallas. Also,
Well, the
Dallas
cover
Keuchel
for the
hasn't
video
signed
game,
either.
they're going to release the gameplay.
But
so
Brad,
I
everyone's
guess
waiting for these guys to set the market
What about Keuchel though? How come we haven't seen Keuchel sign?
because the Phillies
And
are
Kimbrel hasn't signed either. Although I've heard Kimbrel maybe to Atlanta.
I mean, that would make sense because they need a closer there.
I mean, it sounds like the Red Sox are not going to
jeez.
are not going to sign
Nothing.
Kimbrel.
Well, Kimbrel is out of his mind thinking he's going to get all those years and all that money. It's just not. Closers aren't valued like that anymore. They're just not. Chapman was the last guy to get a big contract as a closer. Ever, maybe.
I mean, how much is Kimbrel wants $100 million for 6 years?
As a closer.
Yeah, that's
He's out of
not
his
going to
mind.
happen.
It's out of his mind.
I mean, he'd be lucky to get 4 for 75.
I'm out on Kimbrel. I'm out on Keuchel. I don't know. At this point, you're so up against it that you need to just get Harper and or Machado and get the camp. See what you got for half the season, then make a trade for arms at the deadline.
That would make the most sense.
Well, now,
Yeah.
because these guys are whatever's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they won't just sign. I don't understand why as a player, because baseball players are such creatures of habit. I don't understand why they don't want to sign and start working out with the guys and get the spring training and get the team camaraderie, chemistry aspect
Well,
going.
you know, as far as the position players go, though, I mean, how much spring training do they really need? 3 weeks? 2-3 weeks to get their swing
But
down?
it's the principle of it. Pitchers and catchers are report in 10 days, and then, you know,
The pitchers need – listen, the pitchers
No,
need,
because
need the whole time.
Bob Santaluquito is going to be there at spring training bugging Aaron Nola about Bryce Harper and Manny Machado.
Nola is selfish.
Yeah. Fucking crumb.
Oh, boy.
All right. 10 o'clock. We're going to wrap it up. Been a great edition of the Sports Hounds. Sports Hounds will be back next week. First full episode without any football talk. We're not going to talk any football next week. We're going to mourn the loss of football season and move on to bigger and better things. We're going to get into draft and free agency when the time comes. But hopefully the Sixers will have some new pieces. Maybe the Knicks will have some new pieces next week. They'll all be discussed right here on A2D Radio, the Sports Hounds, next week.